All right, rise and shine. It is more World Card time. Everybody knows the drill. And the person to my left, no, that is not Dan, the great curator. It is David Campos, a.k.a. La.Cardguy. I know that you all out there in the Between Two Slabs, we always talk about La.Cardguy, and we've always given him shout-outs on our show because he is the man with the Star Wars cards, and he is part of the Star Wars card knowledge and the hype. He's partly responsible for it as well. So if you want to continue to give Dan, the great curator, hell for pumping and dumping, blame this guy over here, okay? So David, thanks for having me, being on my show. Last minute, I know I had someone, but he fell through. He forgot it was Valentine's Day. Eric Estrada, who's with DAP Sports, and he said his fiance would kick his ass if he was on the show tonight because he's got to leave. He's got to rehearse all week because he's performing with O-Town in New Orleans next week for Mardi Gras. So he apologized, but you got to get through the door and everyone else. So thank you so much because I need someone that can talk about what Dan and I talk about, which is not only just sports cards, but the diversity of pop culture cards, non-sports cards. And I was like, oh my God, who can I go to for that? And I'm like, Dave, I mean, of course, sorry, you don't have the followers like Eric does or Daps, but the reason I got you on this show is because you were set up at the Burbank Card Show this weekend, and you pretty much sell the same things Dan and I do, and we work together. So I would like to hear your perspective of the show this weekend, and I think you may want to elaborate some more. I don't know, but this may be the first maybe big show. I don't know if you've set up other shows across the country like Dan and I have, but I know you were at this show. You sell the same things. And you were set up on the other side of the convention, which was a huge convention. It's pretty much almost the same size as the Dallas Card Show. Not quite. How many tables do you think it was? Like 550?
I think it was like 400 to 450, if I remember.
450 versus, which Dallas now is 750 tables. So imagine that.
That's wild.
It is. So, David, because people on our show may not know you as much, I know you come in you're a viewer of our show as well, because I'm always seeing you in the chats, and everybody else does as well. So let's hear your take on how you weren't at the very first Burbank Card Show, correct? I mean, you were there as a participant, but not as a dealer, correct?
Correct.
And this was your very first card show, big card show, not like a local show at the SoCal area, but your first big, like, national type show overall, correct?
Yeah, it definitely was. And first off, I want to thank you for having me on. Thank Daniel as well for giving me a spot.
Hell, you may lose the job. You don't know. We may have to need you on here more.
But yeah, so like I met Merlin and Daniel a couple years ago through the SoCal shows. I'm based in LA, and I pretty much do like the local LA shows. I've never had the opportunity to go out to Dallas. I've never been to the national, primarily because of my day job. I don't do cards full time. I do it on the side. I do it on the weekends. I do eBay. And so I really, with my work and my family, I don't have the time to really get out to out of state shows, not even Vegas. And so last Burbank show, I did try to be a dealer, but as they were trying to develop the dealer network that was trying to come in and set up, I didn't have a table. I did go as a VIP, which I was so thankful I had a VIP pass because those lines were insane.
Oh, that's right. Oh, so the VIPs didn't have to wait in those lines.
No, I felt bad every time I got there because I would get there like right when the show was opening, and you would see the line all the way down, and I would just walk up, VIP pass, and just go straight through the doors, and I was in there with everyone. So
yeah, thank God, right?
Yeah.
You'd still be out there right now.
Yeah, exactly. But this time around, I was able to go ahead and make it on the dealer list, which I was very excited. I was set up, and it was it was an amazing experience. An amazing experience. As someone who, like, again, doesn't get to go out of state for shows, and to have that kind of convention size card show, it was awesome. I was nervous. I was super nervous going in. I feel like I'm a small fish in that big pond of dealers. But as soon as I got a few deals going, oh man, it was nothing but thrills and thrills and thrills.
Now tell us, because a lot of viewers here are probably also other dealers or people who are collectors who might want to be dealers down the road. Tell us what your setup at your table consisted of.
Yeah. So, as a first time dealer, I went a bit conservative, and I partnered with another local dealer here in Southern California to kind of reduce my costs on my table, even shared a room so that way we could reduce our costs at the hotel, because we weren't sure what we were going to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so that kind of helped me out, and I was very nervous about that. What was cool is we got an 8-foot table, so I basically had a 4-foot space, and he had a 4-foot space, and we were able to go ahead and both set up and both deal. But I mean, by day 2, I was in the green as
Oh
far as what I
wow,
had put
day
into.
2. That was
Yeah, on day
Friday because it
2.
started on Thursday, correct?
Yeah, it started on Thursday, and I would say like by day 2, by lunchtime, I was already in the green, and I was in awe of just how much traffic was coming into the show, how many people were actually coming to see Star Wars cards, how many people were actually talking and doing trades with me, how trade night even went well for me. Because normally I've been to a few like trade events, and for me, Star Wars cards really don't move as well in trade night. But I was able to go ahead and move a few cards through the trade nights as well, which is exciting. And so, like, overall, it was an awesome experience that really encouraged me to be ready and like think about what's going to happen for when this show moves to Anaheim, and how I can
No, that's
bring more,
right.
how I can do more, and how I can be more part of what's going on through this Burbank Card Show.
Now, what did you have set up at your table? What were the cards you brought to the game?
Yeah, so I had 2 display cases, and it was full of Star Wars for day 1
Oh
and day
wow.
2. Yeah, so
So
I
that's what
have.
you sold to get yourself into the green, correct?
Yeah, and that's all I was selling, and I was trading. I did some trades. I did a small buying the first 2 days. I did more buying on the end, but it was primarily just 2 showcases of Star Wars cards, and
Jeez.
talking from 77 vintage all the way to 2022 Chrome Galaxy. And
Hmm.
so, like, I just had an array of stuff, slabbed and raw, and I even had a complete set of 1977 Star Wars cards, and that which is consisted of 5 series. I had a full complete card set, no stickers, in a binder, and that even sold to a collector.
Really?
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
how much something like that goes for?
On a I've seen like mint sets go for well over 1,000. I was able to build mine for a much affordable price, and I was actually able to make the guy a deal for around $500. And so he was
Whew.
really enjoying it. Yeah, it was a really nice deal for him. Really good deal for me as well. So.
So Star Wars Vintage did very well for you as well, besides just modern.
Yeah, I had a few graded vintage cards. Those moved
Oh, they
really
did.
well.
What
Yeah.
was it like? Luke Skywalker #1? What?
I have, yeah, I sold a Luke Skywalker #1. I sold Mark Hamill as Luke Skywalker, which is, I think, like number 37 or 57. I
Okay.
can't remember which one. I even picked up more Luke Skywalkers during the show. So that way, because they just always sell. Luke #1 is always a good card to pick up because people just love it, whether it's on a slab or it's in a magnet touch. Like, people
Hmm.
just really enjoy to having that card because it's the first Star Wars card.
Dang. Now, did you sell any other cards? You had anything besides Star Wars?
Yeah, so I sold a few 2021 Galaxy cards. I sold 2022 Finest cards. I sold, oof, what else? I sold Topps Chrome Perspectives Medallion relics.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, there was a wide array of Star Wars cards. I try and have a variety. I try not to stick too much into one set. I try and have a mix of just relics, patch cards, autos, um, and base cards, refractors, numbered slab, all that. And it was pretty much all moving. I couldn't tell you
Good
that there
Lord.
was just one specific set or character that was moving. Actually, I would say this. Darth Vader, probably the biggest mover.
Well, I'm sure that's one of the most popular anyways. I think it's that way with the Chrome Galaxy.
Yeah. I actually traded into, at the end of Thursday, I did an amazing trade and I picked up a Lack of Faith Atomic at a 150.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You think that's like the most popular card in that new set?
Absolutely. I mean, it's one of my favorites. It's just a
It's
beautiful
Daps too.
card. Yeah. And, people were coming by and they're like, that's the card that has a bounty on the 101. And I was like, yeah, it is.
Yep.
And people were really wanting it. And I was surprised that it sold on the last day, but I actually ended up selling it.
Oh, you did? And how much did that go for, I ask?
So the last two comps were at 270 and 300.
Man.
And I actually sold it for 270. And that was out of 150.
For the Atomic Refractor?
Yeah.
And that's out of 150.
Yeah.
Man.
I picked up, and on trade night, I actually picked up a Wave out of 99.
That's out of 99, right?
Yeah, I didn't have it for like more than 20 minutes, and I ended up trading it to another.
What did you do? Did you put it like in the case, or did you show someone they were like, I want that?
Someone saw me trade into it, and I was all excited. I was looking at, and then they basically came over, and they're like, I want it. And I was like, well, what do you have? And then we saw what they had, and boom, we just made a deal right then and there. So
that's pretty much, to me, that right now, that sounds like as if that is the Kurosawa out of that set.
I think so. If I were to,
and probably the second popular one is, of course, the photo on the box.
Yes.
What's that one? What's that one called?
That's called Star Wars.
It's just called Star Wars. Okay.
It's a retro comic cover, from what I remember.
Yeah,
and I have refractors of those.
Because it looks like it's almost like a Kirby art, but I don't know if it's Kirby or not because they don't put the artist on there anymore, which is my only negative, thing about this new set.
Yeah,
is not having the artist. You can't know when you want to learn more about that artist.
Yeah, that is a little bit of an upset for sure on Topps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I guess after Kurosawa in the first set, in the 2021 set, after that I think it's like Leap of Faith is the next popular, which is the cover of the box. Is Luke and Leah on the on the swing rope, going across the Death Star the bridge.
Yeah,
from the first movie.
Yeah, I was able to secure one of those over the weekend as well.
Oh, what kind?
An Atomic out of 150.
Ooh, nice. Yeah, I had no trouble selling those. I had like 4 different ones everywhere, anything from PSA 10 to PSA 9 to National, and they all sold out at the National. Plus all my Kurosawa sold at the National. So I need to stock up. I haven't really gotten. I think it's because of you and Daps, not many people brought me. And plus, I am so wiped out. I really don't have much to show Star Wars wise because, I always tell people and the viewers that if you display it, they will come with it. And I'm correct, right?
Yeah, it's very true.
Should you have what'd you have, like 2 cases?
I had 2 cases. Yeah, full of Star Wars.
So it's pretty much Star Wars. So everybody's like, oh, this must be the Star Wars guy. I'm going to try to sell my Star Wars cards to this guy.
Yeah, that's how it always is. There's that that one person who comes by and they're always like, hey, I brought a couple Star Wars cards. Do you want to look at it? And those are always like the gems that you find because they got it in a break. They're not like crazy excited.
Right.
They're willing to move it. They like the cash that you give it to them. And on the flip side, we're like, this is an amazing card. We know that our audience is going to enjoy this, and we get to go ahead and provide it and put it out in our display case and move it to an awesome collector.
Oh, Ed, I'll have the rose petals and chocolates on the bed later, bud. Not right now. I got to have this. So do you sell other non-sports, or did you bring any to the show?
So I started off with all Star Wars on day 2, I think it was. I picked up some of there's a box set called Pieces of the Past, and it's presidential relics. And you basically get 2 relic cards in there. I bought a couple of those to do some late night rips, and those are really exciting.
Oh, you bought packs?
I bought 2 boxes.
Oh, 2 boxes. And how many packs are in a box?
1 pack, 2 cards.
One pack just two. Wait a minute. That just sounds like a little lame pack, David.
But it pretty much is. It's a glorified
two
box.
cards.
Yeah, it's 2 cards. It's
I
not
hate
an
when it's
expensive
misleading
box
like that.
either.
It's a pack within a box, but just 2 cards. I guess because they're thick, right? All
Yeah,
other materials.
They come in a one touch already sealed, which is
Oh,
nice.
they do. Okay, so
Yeah.
it's kind of like a flawless or something, or National Treasures sort of way.
Kind of like that.
It's already encased.
Exactly. And they're not expensive boxes. They were $75 at the show. And a lot of people were picking them up.
Oh, they were. Who had them?
Showtime, right next to us. They had a whole stack of them. And I don't think they left with any because they were pretty hot.
And do you have any good hits?
I did. I can show you. I got
a
quad relic.
Please.
Let's see. Yeah, this is a quad relic.
Ooh.
And the cool part is right here. This one actually has John Adams' handwriting on it.
The one that's to my left.
Yeah, this
second
one right
to
here.
Left. Yes,
yeah,
in the center there. And then what's the other 3?
So it could be
a letter to them.
Yeah, it could be a letter that they wrote out. It could be a speech that they had. There's a bunch. It says on the back what they can have, but basically like time period manuscripts, land grants, presidential documents, handwritten words, books, and basically the 4 presidents who are displayed are Thomas Jefferson, John Adams, Benjamin Franklin, and John Hancock.
Oh wow! And is that one numbered?
It's not numbered, but I did see a 1 of 1 at the show. And
yeah, I had a number 1 of 1 actually. I bought or traded with at the last Burbank show back in August, and I was like, "Gosh!" And it was ungraded, I guess, just like the one you showed us.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "Man, I don't know if I'll get maybe this is a bad trade." And I think maybe the trade I got out of it was like $100.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I don't know if this is even worth 50 or whatever. So I sent it to the ComC and put it on auction block. And believe it or not, it sold for over $200.
Yeah.
So I got more than what I speculated on.
I mean, I've graded presidential cards and they sell very well.
Oh, they do?
Yeah. Yeah. And so those are cards I like to get to that are, a little off the beaten path of sports cards. I think those are always fun. One of the cards I pulled was an Abraham Lincoln, and it was a newspaper article.
Ooh.
And that sold because I did that one on the live, and someone literally messaged me saying, I'll be there in the morning to pick it up. And sure enough, they were there. VIP picked it up. It was like one of my first sales in the morning.
Oh my gosh, that was crazy fast. And what you had to go to sell it.
Yeah.
What they had to go through to buy it from you.
So, I mean, they move. It's exciting. And they're fun cards to have. They're unique. People see them. They like them on their desk. They like them on their shelf,
I think I've seen also from the same people who make those cards, they also have like some of like sports too. Like I saw like one of Secretariat. And it's got like the horsehair embedded in it. And it goes for a lot of money. I thought it was like, oh, that's kind of wild. Secretariat. Yeah. And some other like famous horses too.
Have you seen those? Unique. Yeah, I've seen those. They're super unique,
Now, do you still collect or you buy and sell Marvel or other non-sports stuff?
Yeah, I've been out of Marvel inventory for a while.
Yeah,
haven't really picked up some stuff, but I've been wanting to. I get asked a lot about it because I used to carry a lot of Marvel.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, like back, I would say like well over a year ago, I probably had like my inventory was like 50% Marvel, 50% Star Wars.
So what happened?
I mean, it all sold. And and then I, didn't have opportunities to really buy.
And you're not like the curator. You just don't keep buying and buying and buying and buying like he does.
No, and and then it's also like I try and buy things. I mean, buy what you like, right? That's our golden rule,
Guess you don't like it anymore.
It's hard. Like they'll bring characters that you like don't know who they are. I've never read their comic. I don't know if they're going to be in the Marvel universe, and stuff like that. But I did get one, which I was very excited about. I got
what was that?
I got a Scarlet Witch.
Ooh.
PMG.
Like an old school version.
Yeah, and it's
like
kind
one
of
of the original versions of her.
Yeah, so this is a great card.
And what kind of PMG is that one?
This is from 2022.
What
It's
color?
out of 100, and it's a pink.
Pink PMG out of 100.
Yeah.
And that's out of the new series, correct?
No, it's from 2020.
Oh, 2020. I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know they started creating pink ones out of that set too. Because I have a few Professor X, but they're all like you said, the old school versions, like the very first time they were in the comics.
Yeah.
Like in the 60s.
It's like the retro kind of throwback to the original. Mm-hmm. So I saw that one. It came my way. That I picked up in trade night, and I traded a few Star Wars cards for that one, and it was a really good, fun deal. So
now I also heard you you do like sports cards too. You do get yourself involved in it. So what's your favorite like sports cards to collect?
I'm an LA fan. I grew up in Los Angeles, San Fernando Valley, so I love my Dodgers. I love my Lakers, even though they're struggling.
Yeah, they are.
And I got into F1 through the Netflix series, like so many.
Oh, you did? You watched it?
Yeah.
I need to watch it. I have not watched it yet.
It's a real cool balance to see like the sport as well as the politics that go behind it. And that's what I think is very intriguing. So I'm a big Team Haas fan and also a big Mercedes fan. So whatever cards I can pick up from that. I like Charles Leclerc, so I'll pick those guys up whenever I can, whenever they swing by. Because people like to trade me sports cards for Star Wars cards. It happens on the regular.
So you're open to that?
Oh yeah, because they'll see something that I have and they like it as a collectible, and they're willing to go ahead and give me something that's a little bit of value, a little bit liquid, and I can just either keep that, sit on it. A lot of times I'm taking it to Burbank and I'm cashing out. That's how I go ahead and get my return.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you mean the Burbank card store, not the show?
Yeah, not the show, but the Burbank card shop. Yeah. I'll go
now, did you make any sports transactions this week at the show?
At the show, no, but at trade night, I did trade an F1 card. Yeah. So what I did was I had a purple Kevin Magnussen, who is part of Team Haas. It was a PSA 9, and I traded that for another Lack of Faith, the Wave out of 99.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was fun.
So you're just like us. You have a pretty diverse collection. You don't mind delving into the other stuff or taking those chances. You just enjoy all those things. So you like Dan and myself, you just collect what you like, and you probably just trade and sell what you like.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you bring some Mookie Betts cards, I'm going to want to take a look at
them. Yeah, really?
You bring me some Shohei Ohtani, I really like him. Last year I had a Mookie Betts rookie auto die cut out of 30.
Oh, wow.
It was a BGS 9. I was able to sell that for a really good amount. And it was right before playoffs, made a really good deal on that. And kind of on the hunt for another Mookie Betts auto. So
you're talking about a rookie or just any auto?
Preferably a rookie.
Okay.
Yeah.
And are they expensive, or what's his prices like?
You can get some like base or like high numbered ones for around $300 to $400, which is not that bad. When you get into the graded ones, they're also, I would think, very affordable. Mm-hmm. And he's a really great athlete for the LA market. So I think he does very well as far as when you see him at trade shows and when people want to go ahead and pick him up. So
now, is this the best time right now to buy or sell baseball, or what?
It's a good time to sell because we're not far from the season starting.
So, and are you buying right now baseball, or are you holding off?
I'm holding off. I'm waiting probably for a month into the season, seeing how things kind of shake out, seeing who's looking promising and stuff. I know this year's top Series 1 is going to be a really fun rip with a lot of good rookies in there. So I'm going to actually start doing my research and seeing if there's a guy or two who I may want to pick up from that rookie class.
And how about F1? When is the best time to buy and sell F1?
The best time to sell, when they're doing good and you can tell that they're going to be going towards the championship or seeing where they're going to be placing. Because the thing about F1 that's really exciting as well is third place, fourth place, and fifth place teams, they have value as well. Even though they're not in the first or second or in the running to get the championship, they do really well as far as their potential value. And so I would say buying during that off season, which I think is a small window because the season will end And then people are basically waiting for the Netflix season to start. And that's when more hype kind of jumps in. So there's like this little pocket that you can go out and buy. And not a lot of people are talking F1 and all that stuff. But this, at the beginning of the month, they already started revealing the new cars. So
Oh,
that's just
really?
part of the process of how F1 is.
And when's the next show on Netflix going to be out?
End of this month, the next season.
Oh, and how many seasons have they had?
This is the 4th or 5th.
Oh, it's been that many already.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. So we should just, if I want to watch it, I need to start from the beginning, right?
Oh, totally start from the beginning, gets you some context as far as like what's happened in the previous seasons, and like what's happened as far as the who's moved from different teams, who's no longer racing and stuff like that.
Because there has been changes like that, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, wow. And then when did you get into F1?
Probably after the first season came out, and I was hearing it a lot more on the YouTube channels. I was seeing a lot of the cards at the shows. And I remember I did a trade one time and a guy was like, "Oh, I just bought this box." And I was like, "I don't know anything about racing." And he's like, "It's not racing, it's F1." And I was like, "It's a car, it's racing? I don't know." But it's different than NASCAR in many ways and stuff. So it was probably like a year after that first Netflix season that I kind of got into it. I was like, all right, let me go watch this. And immediately I was hooked by like the second, third episode.
And they need those producers for the NASCAR, because NASCAR hasn't been as interesting probably in like 30 years.
I know, and I see cool
It's
NASCAR cards all the time. Yeah, but like I just don't know what to buy or if I should buy into it.
I don't think you need much, and it's sad because you go and you see like cards of old famous racers, and they're not that expensive. Like Richard Petty and Dale Earnhardt Sr.
Yeah,
and Jeff Gordon and Dale Earnhardt Jr. rookie cards or autograph cards, and they're so dirt cheap. It's sad, like especially with like Richard and Dale Earnhardt, because those guys are two legends.
Yeah, I remember you can see those like patch autos for like less than $200.
I know, dude.
It's insane.
It makes me sad. Like, dude, Dale and Richard worth way more than that. These are the living. Well, Dale Earnhardt Jr. is not living, but Richard is. But it's just sad,
Yeah.
To see those. But maybe one day it'll pick up again. Because I mean, I don't know if you collected back in the '90s, but back in the '90s when I was selling cards when I was in college, especially like in Tennessee, North Carolina, in the southern area. Oh my gosh, NASCAR was just as big, if not bigger, than F1 is now here in the hobby. It's crazy. Yeah. And now, like you don't have anybody setting it out or asking for it or anything.
Yeah. My 90s consisted of Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, and Magic.
Oh, do you have? Because I've seen a lot of those cards. I mean, I know more about Pokemon, of course, but like Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh, I didn't know much about it. And then all of a sudden I've seen Probstein list them on their auctions, and I click on it just out of curiosity's sake to see how much they're going for and how much they sold. And my jaw just drops like, oh my God. Okay. So did you have any of those oh my God cards?
No, I didn't. But
okay. Do you know what they were though? When you see them as well, if someone brought you one of those cards, would you know immediately if that was one of those oh my God cards?
Yeah, like for sure. So before I got into the hobby of like where we're at now with dealing with like sports and Star Wars, before the pandemic, I played a lot of Magic. Okay. I do it semi-competitively at like local card shops and even at conventions. And so that was kind of my realm of like where I was with cards before I got into, being La.Cardguy. And so I'm familiar with alpha, beta sets. I'm familiar, even like now I'm catching up with the new promo sets, which are really nice. They did that Transformer promo set, which the shattered foil variation was selling for like $400 raw. And it was, I mean, it's a really cool Optimus Prime. And then there was a really cool
oh, that's right. Because Dave was talking about it on one of our shows about the Transformer versions.
Yeah, I sent him one. I was like, if you're interested, this is it. And he was like, it's over $400 for a card. I was like, yeah. And he's like, it's not even graded. I was like, I know.
Yeah, and now he's got, you give him FOMO, and that guy is like looking for him all over the internet.
Yeah.
Well, I don't even know if he got any yet or not, but I know he was looking.
Yeah,
Did
he
you
was
acquire
definitely.
any of those
No, I didn't.
Transformers?
No, I didn't. Yeah, I would like to if I can find them. It's just real funky because there's a lot more. I think what Wizards and Hasbro are trying to do with Magic is tap into the collectability levels of the hobby rather than
The
the game.
TCG of it?
The TCG of it. Because what I hear a lot from the TCG players is that they're not happy with what Wizards and Hasbro is doing because the
Okay.
playability is like getting ruined, even though their
Yeah, I would
latest set
imagine that.
their latest set that they just came out with was very popular and it seems to have a lot of hype around it. But they did go through a few phases where they were definitely just doing collector type products, which is definitely what Magic's not about, if you were to ask me and many players. So,
So how long have you been in the hobby, David?
I mean, I started buying Pokemon cards as soon as they came out. That's what I remember the first cards
So
having.
like back in the late 90s
Yeah, I had
or
Pokemon
earlier?
cards. I mean, that's pretty much what I remember my first cards being. And then I moved to Yu-Gi-Oh cards. And then I got into Magic very early, like around junior high. I was doing Magic the Gathering. And until my play group stopped, that's when I kind of stopped with cards. But I kind of always bought the new sets that came out and still was building like little by little. I wasn't like really investing in sets and playing. And it wasn't until about 10 years ago that I got into playing Magic and building decks and trying to be competitive and do all of that. Then the pandemic happened and there was no card shops open. There were no
Yeah, no.
Magic Fest and stuff, which Magic is really about the gathering. So the gathering was gone and I missed cards. And
There
my
was no Zoom meetup
They did
tournaments or
come out with
anything?
it. They did come out with it, but there's a part of me that's just like a little old school
Okay.
sometimes, and I enjoy the person to person as much as our modern day is all about Zoom nowadays. I worked remote for 2 years during the pandemic.
Oh yeah,
It is
I
how it is.
still do.
Yeah,
I still
but
do ever since the pandemic.
yeah,
So when did you get into wheeling and dealing?
it was right. So during the pandemic, the Dodgers won a championship and the Lakers won a
Right.
championship, and I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to remember that. As an
Okay.
LA fan, having two LA teams win championships doesn't happen often. So I remember my wife was going to Target and I was like, hey, babe, go to the card section where I used to buy Magic cards and see if they got baseball cards or basketball cards. And she bought me a complete 2022 set from Topps. And I was
Okay.
excited, but I was like, I don't even know what's in here because I've never bought sports cards. So I messaged my friend and I was like, hey, am I going to be able to get like all the Dodger cards in this set? And he was like, yeah, you're going to get them, but you should also put these players aside and you should sleeve them. And he gave me like 5 players. He gave me like Bo Bichette, Lou Robb, Gavin Lux. Who else was in there? Just like those major rookies, right? And I was like, why? And he's like, because they sell really well. And I was like, what is really well? And so I basically that like sparked my curiosity as to like, what do you mean they sell really well? My friend, he actually grew up working for Rob at Burbank Sports Cards as a teenager.
Really?
Yeah. And so he basically introduced me to the hobby that I'm a part of right now. And he
Okay.
took me to Burbank. He actually introduced me to Rob. I had no idea who Rob was. I was like, I've met card shop owners before. How's it going, sir? And he showed me how to do value box hunting and all that stuff and how to look on eBay, how to sell on eBay. He taught me all of it. And I just got
The
hooked.
Miyagi of card collecting.
Yeah, I call him my sensei. That's what I call
Yeah.
him. My mentor, my sensei. And he was like crushing it value box wise and selling local teams and bundles and lots and all that stuff. And he showed me what he was doing. And I come from a procurement background.
Okay.
So my background's in inventory risk management, pricing. I currently am a purchasing supervisor for an electrical wholesale company. So I'm a professional buyer by trade. So I was just super intrigued that I could do this with cards. And he taught me everything of how to do it. And I fell in love with it. I dived into it. And he ended up moving to Idaho, which kind of felt like he was like,
Idaho.
yeah, he was like, hey, listen, I'm leaving, so you just got to keep on doing this. And I was like, all right, like, let me just start doing it. And then started buying, and then I did like my first show.
What one was your first show?
So my first show was actually out in Lancaster. There's a shop out there called the AV Pop Shop,
Okay.
and this guy, it's an amazing collectible shop. It's not even a card shop. You can go and buy figurines, you could go buy toys, you can go buy bags, everything pop culture, Marvel, Star Wars, Disney, anime. He had it all. And I had just moved out in 2021. I had bought a house out in Acton. That's where I currently live. And
From where? Where were you before?
I was in the San Fernando Valley in Pacoima.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I moved from Pacoima out to Acton, and I found him, and I started actually selling off some of my collectibles because I just wasn't really doing that as much. And I became good friends with the shop owner, and he was like, what do you do now if you're selling all this? And I told him, I'm actually buying sports cards. And he was like, I'm going to have a card pop-up show. I was like, I don't even know what that means. He was like, he says, at the end of Saturday night, I'm going to have, I think he had like 12 tables in his shop.
Okay.
And he was like, you should come and set up. I had never set up before. And I was like, I don't know how to do
Did you
this.
even have display cases?
I went out to Michael's and I bought a display case like many first time dealers do.
Okay.
And I was like, I think this will work. I don't know if it'll work, you know? And so I built a little 2-row shoebox value box, thinking that, you know, maybe people will want it. Maybe people, I don't know. It was my first show. I didn't know what to expect. And I had Lakers cards, I had Dodger cards, I had a few Star Wars cards, a few Marvel cards, because it was that type of shop. And the crazy part, Merlin, was that it was only for 3 hours. It was from 8 to 11.
That's so short.
8 to 11 on a Saturday night. He didn't charge any of us a table fee because it was his first time trying it out. But if you go on Instagram and you follow AV Pop Shop, the owner, his name is Orlando. Shout out to Orlando. He's an awesome guy. Even though he's out in the Antelope Valley, he has a huge following. He's done live auctions. Yeah, it's crazy. And he gave me my first table opportunity.
Okay.
And ever since then, I've been going to shows because I did that 3-hour show, Merlin, and I did over $500 in sales, and I was blown away.
That exceeded your expectations of your first show.
Yeah, I took my best friend with me, and he was like, what are we doing here? And I was like, I'm going to try and sell cards. And he's like,
yeah, because have you even been to one, even as like a customer?
No, I hadn't been to one.
So you had no clue what it was about.
Yeah, if I look back, I did my first card show, and then after that, I went to my very first card show, which was the premiere at Westminster, and that's where I met Daniel.
Okay.
Daniel was, a lot of people don't know this, but Daniel was one of the first, I think the first or the second person I met when I went to my very first card show.
That's the Great Curator.
Yeah, the Great Curator.
He was already called the Great Curator then, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
When was that show? Like April of 21?
I'd have to go back in my Instagram and see it.
Because that was like one of the first shows I went to too, and that's when I first met Daniel as well. Because he was actually out in front of the lobby.
Exactly.
Oh, so that was that one.
Yeah.
That's when he had a like WWF Ric Flair belt.
Yeah.
And I noticed it, admired it, and then I love the fact that he had a lot of cards, like unique cards that were just sports that grabbed my attention. And he had like wrestling stuff, and he knew his stuff, and I love that fact. And then I was like, I got to know this guy. I want to learn more about just, more than just sports.
Actually, you know what? Now that I'm remembering it, I went to that show first before I did my first card show.
Get out of here, really?
You know why I know that?
Why?
Because the first card I ever sold was to Daniel.
What?
Yes.
He came to that show? You sold up that?
No. So I did.
So, you sold it as a customer.
Yeah. So flip it. I actually went to the Westminster show first, and then I did my first card show. I'm remembering it.
And what did you sell him?
I sold him a BGS 9 2018 Mbappe sticker for World Cup.
Wait a minute. He bought a soccer card?
Yes.
What?
Yeah.
He doesn't know anything about soccer.
Yeah, he bought that
But
off of me.
I guess he knew
That
about Mbappe.
Yeah, he knew about Mbappe. His friend at the time, I think it was Sam,
Yeah,
and he
yeah,
was setting
Sam.
up. Yeah,
Sam. Oh gosh, what's his handle name? Oh my gosh, totally blanked out. But go on.
yeah, he had soccer cards, and so
Like
um,
Cardquan or something like that.
yeah, exactly. So he knew about it, and yeah, Daniel was the first person I sold a card to at a card
That's
show.
hilarious.
Yeah, yeah.
And here we are. Yeah, I didn't. I was making my shows just back in those days.
I remember you at the garden show out in Sherman Oaks. That's when I first
Oh, I
met
was
you.
set up.
Yeah,
Okay, so
it
that was
was like
probably
an
like one of the
outside.
first.
Yeah, it was an outside garden. It was a really
Yeah,
cool
that was
spot.
Cardstock Trading Show.
Yeah, I think
That
that
was
was like their
Chris's
first
first
one.
show.
Mm-hmm.
That was outside, and he had the tents or whatever.
Yeah,
The
and you
canopies
had a
over everybody's
huge
table.
setup. I remember like everyone was around your table, and I was like,
Yeah.
I can't even get to the table. I couldn't even see your boxes. I was like, who is this guy? And sure enough, you were there. And I remember you had like Justin Bieber cards, Taylor Swift cards, and I was like, what is all this
Yeah, I
stuff?
had
And like,
tons of PMGs. I had
oh
everything
yeah, you had all kinds. And it
before
was
they
just
even
like,
blew up.
yeah. I remember just going through your stuff and I was like, what is all of this? Because this isn't even sports. And people were just like flocking around your table and just like you were doing deals left and right.
That
And
was
I
a
was
great
like,
show, man. That was like around like Memorial Day weekend.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, that was a great show and great location. Thank God that we have great weather in Southern California, so you don't have to fear the rain
Yeah,
coming
very
around
fortunate.
those time of year. But yeah, it was super great, and it was, it was kind of supposed to be hot, but it was cloudy all day, so the weather was just perfect.
Yeah, it was like overcast in the morning, the sun
hmm
peeked out, but it stayed cool the whole day, and it was really nice.
Yeah, that was a great show. The Cardstock Trading Show. He needs to do one of those again soon. An outdoor one. That would be great if he did. And then you were like, you got the bug,
I got the
and you're
bug.
like, okay, I want to continue to do some more shows in Southern California, correct?
Yeah, I did like another little outdoor show in Glendale, and then I started.
Is that
I
the one that's at the restaurant,
I did that
the Armenian
restaurant one.
restaurant?
Yeah,
Yeah, I was there too.
yeah, I did that one, and then I did Cardstock, I did Premiere, I did Newport, and I was kind of going through it. I've never been able to go to Union. I do want to go check them out. Those guys have
Oh,
always.
you've never been to the Del Mar show or
No, they've always shown me
the
a lot of love,
Chango?
and they've always wanted me to go. Hopefully this year I can definitely try and make it out. Um, but yeah, I just kind of was always doing all the shows at that point. Like it was nonstop. I think I was doing like 2 shows a month. Because for those who hear, Southern California is very fortunate to have shows just happening on the regular.
You've slowed down a little, which helps a lot. I mean, it doesn't sound like it's good, but believe us as dealers, it's a good thing. That's not tons of shows every single weekend, correct?
Yeah.
Did you get a little burned out after a while?
I did. After my first year, I had to kind of like sit down, rethink how I wanted to do things. I also got very busy with work.
I know you did.
And I kind of like was missing out, which was really a big bummer.
Missing out on like your work or the card shows?
Card shows. Can't miss out on work. That's gotta pay the bills. So yeah. So I was missing out. I was kind of like trying to do one a month, and that was even kind of like a bit of a burden for me.
Right.
That's why I'm very excited about the Burbank Card Show, because like Daniel, I'm trying to grow in my little brand and trying to grow within my inventory and do more for the hobby. But I did feel limited that I wasn't able to like do out of state shows. And so having a card show like Burbank be on the West Coast, be in Southern California, it really helps someone like me have those bigger opportunities for bigger shows, bigger card sales, bigger opportunities, bigger trades and stuff like that. So that's why I'm very excited.
Yeah, because prior to that, like to this weekend's Burbank Card Show, what was like, let's say, the largest show you had done prior?
Newport.
And how many tables is there?
I don't know. I think EJ does like 70, 80, something like that.
Yeah, that sounds about right. The one at the church, correct?
Yeah, the one at the church, that's a really nice location.
It's really nice. It's a really nice neighborhood area.
Nice neighborhood, lots of parking, and they hook us up with food.
I know. I told EJ, like, man, I wish you, like, I love that Filipino food he
So
made
good.
for us. God, it's so freaking good. It's
Yeah.
like homemade. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And if people don't know Filipino food, man, it's like yummy, yummy, yummy. Especially if you're hungry,
Oh
it's so
yeah.
satisfying.
You smell it like
The
around 11
noodles.
o'clock.
Oh, I
You're just
know.
smelling it
Oh
and
my
you're
gosh.
like,
Yeah, what's the noodles called? Or the noodle, like
I,
the rice noodles dish
I
that's
can't
got like
remember
the
what it
peppers and
is.
onions all in it and everything.
I don't know. I just eat
And
it. That's all I do.
you just eat it. You're like, and they had like a couple of spring rolls in there too. And
Yeah. Spring
yeah,
roll,
oh my
some rice.
gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
So
getting
good.
hungry.
I know.
Whew. And that's Dynasty Mode, and that's run by EJ, who also helps with the Burbank Card show as well.
Yeah.
And he did a fabulous job. He was on my show last week promoting Burbank Card Show, and they did a great job. So what did you learn from this last Burbank Card Show?
Oh gosh, there's a lot. First thing is take the opportunity to meet new people.
Okay.
I met I met a company, Collects, which they have an app that scans cards on the phone and it kind of picks them up.
Mm-hmm.
And just kind of hearing about what their software is, how many users they have. Because, we've been at shows where people kind of come by and they'll drop a flyer or something like that. And I don't dive too much into that, but I was actually able to see okay, well, what kind of company do you represent? What are you offering to the hobby? And it was a really good conversation to the point where he wanted to go ahead and do a quick video of my Star Wars cards. And we did a shared Instagram post, and it was really exciting because it helped kind of add a few more followers to my page, which was really cool. I also did a couple videos for PSA. I got to meet Slab Stocks and Nate. He was there doing some of the stuff with Stephanie, Mama Breaks for the kids. He's a big Star Wars nerd, so we hit it off and we were talking Star Wars. He actually brought me a triple auto plaque that he got. Ooh. And then last night was really cool because we had taken a picture together and he took a little video of my display case. But I was having dinner and someone texted me, one of friends in the hobby texted me, and he's like, "Hey, good shout out on Slab Stocks." And I was like, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "You're on their YouTube live right now." And I was like, "What?"
What?
And they
really?
Yeah. So, and I took a screenshot and I reposted it and I thanked them. And so I just had a lot of cool opportunities to just meet some people that I've seen through YouTube and through content. And then just learn about other things that are going on within the hobby. So again, meeting people, relationships is big. This is a good example. We've known each other for a few years now through cards, and we love Star Wars cards. We've done some other things. We see each other all the time, and when we do, we don't see each other on the regular, but when we do, it's always a big handshake, a big hug. We're excited to see each other. We're excited to see what's going on. And so just developing those relationships is very key to, I think, future opportunities that just, you never know what can happen. So that was a big thing. The second thing was not being afraid to negotiate. Yeah.
Right.
And being able to just be transparent with people. They want to sell you a card. They want to trade a card. If you think it's a hard card to move, you should tell them it's a hard card to move. There was a guy.
And you were put in that situation, correct?
Yeah, there was a guy. He had a really awesome rainbow collection of Darth Maul, and I loved it. And he was
from the Galaxy Chrome?
From Topps Finest.
Okay, Topps Finest.
And the only thing he didn't have was the 1-of-1 Super, but he had all of the other color parallels.
So you were interested at first, correct?
I was looking at it. He actually came to me and he was like, "Can you help me price this?" And I was like, "Sure, of course, got some time, and I went through it and we talked about what we would value it at. And he was like, "Well, what should I take for an offer?" And we kind of went through that. And he was like, "What would you do?" And I said, "I got to be honest with you. It's Darth Maul. I don't know if I can move Darth Maul right away. And because of that, I probably wouldn't offer you what I would normally offer a card that's regularly moving."
Right.
And that's just being transparent. I told him, I said, "I think I'd sit on this for a little longer. And because I'm going to sit on it a little longer, I'm going to want to pay a lower price, just to be fair, just to be real and transparent." And he totally understood, And so I think being transparent, explaining kind of where you're coming from when you're talking about the value of cards and stuff like that, that's really helpful.
Now, tell us what cards do move, because I mean, obviously you're going to tell us some of the obvious, but you might tell us something we may not know, but we see it from your perspective, and we may be surprised of cards that may move that otherwise. I mean, obviously Darth Vader probably is the biggest mover, correct?
Yeah.
And
Darth
then
Vader
after
and
that,
Luke.
Darth Vader and Luke. So there's two of the like tier 1 movers, correct? We can
Tier
put them
1
there.
mover, Darth
Okay.
Vader, Luke. And then I'm going to go right behind that, Boba Fett.
Really, Boba Fett?
Boba Fett is like a classic fan favorite. Has so many cool action figures.
Has such a cult following, correct?
Super cult following. Massive collectability within Boba Fett. And then alongside him, we've got Mandalorian and Grogu, who have recently come into huge popularity roles of Star Wars. And then right next to them, I would say maybe if we're going tier 3, the Bad Batch.
Really? Being the cartoon series that's on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
The animation
Bad Batch, Captain Rex, those guys get a lot of love.
I did not even know this, man. I watched about probably the first 4 episodes of the first season.
Mm-hmm.
And I know second season just came out, correct?
Recently. Second season just came out. Yeah.
So that's a popular show.
Very popular show.
Okay, I've got to finish watching this so I know more. I've been so busy since the holidays, I haven't been able to catch back up again. So I need to get back on, and maybe tonight I'll start watching the shows on season 1 again.
Yeah,
and get familiarized with them.
Those guys get a lot of love. I mean, all of them have. I would say out of the 4 or 5, 2 of them that get a lot of love are Hunter and Wrecker, just because of their personalities.
This is the characters' names on the show.
Yeah. Hunter's kind of like the leader of the Bad Batch. Wrecker, he's like the big dude who's just like a big personality. Yeah, so. I almost picked up a superfractor of him.
Oh, from the second series.
From Top's Finest. It was.
There are some Bad Batch in Top's Finest. See, I didn't even know this.
Yeah.
Of the last series.
Yeah.
That came out like last summer.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah.
And are you looking for something out of the Chrome Galaxy as well?
Chrome Galaxy, I mean, anything that comes my way, I'm not ripping as much. I actually haven't ripped any of the boxes.
You haven't?
No, because I mean, you got to remember, like I was early into 2021 Galaxy. I was buying boxes.
Man. Me too. I was just, me too, because I was just buying some at shows, just the rip for my personal pleasure.
Yeah, exactly.
Thinking like these are worthless, and then all of a sudden I'm looking around, like going through them, and all of a sudden I'm like, I don't even think I paid much attention to what I had. And then I just look back in my packs that I threw in my book bag or my backpack. And I'm like, wait a minute. These are like serial number. And they're kind of shiny and have refractors of some sort of them. I didn't even know the name of I didn't even know the name of the refractors at the time. I had to learn, Google the checklist of it and see what these were called. And I was like, oh, this is cool. And I had some Boba Fett's. And I'm like, oh my goodness. I think I even had a red refractor Boba Fett. And I think I paid I think I bought one from somebody for $15, $20 at the time.
Yeah, I was buying
and I got it graded, and I got a bunch. Then I got a bunch graded, especially like you said, I got the Boba Fett's because this is right before I headed out to Dallas with Daniel last year.
Mm-hmm.
And I got them all graded, and I was like, okay, this will be an interesting experiment here.
Yeah,
I had them in my cases at shows here in LA for the longest time, for not the longest time, maybe a couple months. I always brought them with me to Diamond 9. You've gone to Diamond 9, have you?
Yeah. Been to Diamond.
And no one even looked at them. I was like, I guess these aren't going to work here. And then Dan goes, Merlin, you need to come to Dallas Card Show with me and bring that stuff. Bring all your Star Wars that you've got graded, because he goes, I think people will love this stuff, man. And I brought it to Dallas with me. The first 2 days, Thursday preview night, the VIP night, and then Friday, I didn't really move anything. And Dan was really worried, man, you know how Daniel gets. He gets so worried for other people. He goes, man, Merlin's going to kill me. He's not selling anything. The only thing I sold was a black refractor Tom Brady. I just sold sports cards those first 2 days.
Yeah.
And Dan's like, man, Merlin brought all his non-sports. He's like, he's going to kill me. Saturday rolls around. As soon as I set up everything in my display case, and I had 4 display cases that I rented there because, you rent them. I can't bring them on the airplane.
Yeah.
As soon as I put those in at 10 a.m., dude, the horses came out right out of the gate. And within like 5-6 hours, I sold I had almost 2 display cases of Star Wars plus 2 shoe boxes worth of it. Almost all of it was gone. Everything in the display case was gone.
Wow.
All those graded refractors from the Galaxy Chrome, gone. And luckily, I was already getting a huge submission. I'd already sent to PSA. So I received that stuff back in time for the March show. By the March show came around, I sold all of it, dude, again. And I sold it all by Friday. It was all gone by Friday.
Yeah.
Made like $10,000 worth of cards.
I mean, that's awesome. That's awesome.
And Dan saw what was happening. Dan didn't even have that stuff even by that point. He still had like some Marvel, but Star Wars. And that's, of course, the night at the Culture Collision in February last year. That's when I found that Kurosawa Superfractor 101 for $500.
Yeah.
Dan, it was just killing Dan. You know how he gets. He gets very competitive and just like, oh man, Merlin is killing me. The Merlin's successful with this. Yeah. He's killing it now. Why did I even bring him to Dallas? But he's like, God, Merlin knows I got to get on this bandwagon here. So Dan bought that Kurosawa from me. The rest is history. And then he started grading it. The more I started coming, each time I went to another show, I started other sports cards collectors started having Star Wars in their cases, and it got bigger and bigger and bigger. And I'm like, whoa, and what have I started? I had people, of course, messaging me, trolling me on Instagram, like, how dare you grade those cards and price them at shows? How dare you? How dare you get the curator involved in Star Wars cards? How dare you?
Yeah.
I'm like, sorry, man. I didn't know this was going to happen. I really had no clue. It was just an experiment, David.
Yeah. I mean, and through it all, I had, when I first started, I had sports as well as Star Wars. But last year, early in the year, I was just noticing that like my sports cards weren't moving, but my Star Wars cards were. My Marvel inventory sold out. And last year, I just worked on all year trying to just liquidate and get rid of all of my sports inventory that I would normally put in my cases and just keep the stuff that I wanted from F1, keep the Mookie Betts that I wanted, and not have all of those other sports cards. And now I really don't display any sports cards unless I'm kind of doing like an eBay thing or I'm taking a trade night. But I've moved completely over to when I do a show, it is all non-sport, 95%, most of the time 100% just Star Wars.
Now, do you grade your cards as well?
Yeah. So I've graded with PSA. I've graded with SGC. Both of them I've done, and they both sell fairly well on both sides. That was one thing I got into towards the end of the year, was actually prepping my own cards and doing the actual grading and all that stuff. So I got really into that. And I did a lot of it to prepare for this Burbank show, which was a good thing because I had to reload my on Friday and Saturday. I had to refill my cases 2 to 3 times, I would say. I wasn't selling out.
But you brought that with you, did you? You didn't have to go back home and grab anything, did you?
No, and plus I stayed at the hotel at the DoubleTree, so I had
you live pretty far from there?
Yeah, I live about 80 miles.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's pretty far.
So I didn't want to drive back and forth, and I was able to get a hotel with Raul, and we shared that. But it was, I had a shoebox of extra, and so whenever there was just all of a sudden it was starting to look bare, open it up, fill in some new cards, make some more sales, make some more deals, meet some new people, and then all of a sudden you look down, you're like, I got to grab some more cards and put them out here, So.
Now, what's one thing? I don't ever like to be negative about, things, in the hobby, but I do want to know from your perspective, what is something like at card shows, maybe this weekend, that does bend your corner? Because that's a topic Dan and I always bring up in the show. So what does bend your corner?
I'm gonna give you two experiences I had at Burbank. Let me
Okay.
do that. Let me do that. So the first one was it was really discouraging actually.
Oh no.
I
Okay.
thought I was trying to do something good. I made a bunch of kids packs, just some extra cards that I had. I put them in some. I got about 5 or 6 cards, and it was like a mix of Marvel, sports, Star Wars, some White Schwartz, and I just put them in there and I made quite a bit of them, and I wanted to just hand them out to kids, because kids, that's the future of our hobby, right? We got to pour
Exactly.
into our next generation, and so I just wanted to go ahead and hand out kids packs on a
Yeah, I mean,
VIP
yeah,
night.
you and I probably enjoyed that as kids as well. So you like to,
Exactly.
pay it forward.
So I'm doing that on VIP night, and all of a sudden a kid comes up to my table, and I go, "Hey, you like free packs?" And I said, "You like free cards?" And I gave him 2 packs, and he took them, and he looked at me, and he goes, "I'm a serious collector."
Oh my.
And this kid had to be like 10 years old or something. And I was like,
There's a lot of those now versus when we
yeah.
were kids.
And he goes, I'm not a kid collector. I collect sports. And I was like, well, I'm a serious adult and I collect Star Wars. And the lesson I can teach you is just collect what you like, man, and enjoy free cards.
Yeah,
So,
right.
And he just gave me a look, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, who is this kid?"
Still
And
take it because you don't understand. Like I've gotten like free packs like that before, even as an adult. People
yeah,
just handing you things, and I just throw it in a box sometimes, and I go back like 2 years later just see what's in this box, and I find some gems
yeah,
that weren't a gem 2 years before prior to that, and now they are.
And I put a few Easter eggs in the packs and stuff like that, so
Mhm.
that way the kids would enjoy. But it was
There you
really
go. Yeah,
discouraging,
that's probably what happened to me.
So, and it was, I mean, even the dealer right next to me, he was like, "What a little savage," and I was like, "I mean,
Yeah,
I
right.
don't know, like." So that was a bit, a negative experience where it's just like, hey, whenever there's something like free in the hobby and people are trying to do a good thing, like support it. If you don't like it, you don't have to like crap on it. So, but that was one fun experience to go through. The second one, which was really crazy, I don't know if you know this, but someone snuck in. They went through general admission and they
Okay.
snuck in a small 4-foot foldable table. And they went
No,
to
I did not hear about
they
this at
went to
all. Are
the
you kidding
center.
me?
Oh yeah, yeah. So in the center, for those who didn't attend, there was basically like 2 sides to the convention center, and down the center aisle, it was a real big open space that had eBay and it had tag and it had overtime rips.
Right, it's
But
pretty
in
much the corporate
between,
area
yeah, it was like a corporate area. But in the real middle of it, there was really nothing. They had some tables on
for the
VIP
bar,
night, but
right? Like
yeah,
we can eat and drink.
but on the day, I think it was Friday or Saturday, they only had two like tables where people could go put their bag, reorganize their cards, and there was no chairs or nothing like that.
Okay.
This guy came in and he like set up his little table in between those two tables
Yeah.
and was trying to deal cards.
Okay. And how successful was he?
I mean, he got caught. I mean, I was
How
like
long do you think he
mid.
was there?
I mean, it was so sneaky. I couldn't even see him, and he was literally 30, 40 feet in front of me.
Oh my God, the audacity of people.
Yeah, and as you know, we pay a good amount to set up. The
Yeah,
tables
we're
are,
paying like $500 to $600 per table.
yeah, $500 to $600 per table.
And
You're
then if
generally,
you're renting cases or bringing your cases, you're paying. It's your their overhead.
yeah, you're overhead. If you're staying in the hotel,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
more overhead.
exactly.
And this guy did general admission, snuck in a table, decided to set up. I didn't actually catch it until security and Jay were dealing with him.
They were already dealing with him when you saw it.
Yeah,
That's
and they were.
crazy. I did not hear about this.
It
Oh my
was.
God, I
I couldn't
missed it
believe it.
all, man.
I mean, we were just watching it, and people are like, "What's going on?" And then you could see he had this little table. He had his cards out, and they're like, "Pack it up. You need to go."
Oh my, yeah. Let's hope so.
Yeah,
I guess he's not going to be. He's going to be on their blacklist.
yeah, yeah, definitely.
Now, will you? You think you'll do this card show next one in Anaheim?
Yes, definitely.
Okay,
Definitely
yeah.
gonna do
And
Anaheim.
who else? Your wife and Raul as well.
My wife doesn't jump into the card world with me. She's a
She's not there.
collector.
Okay.
She, But she's like, you got to do this on your own, because if not, we'll get into collecting and not really selling anything.
Do you collect toys as well?
I used to a lot. I
But
do
not
have a
anymore?
few. I do
Okay.
have a few. I've been collecting
Mainly
some
Star Wars?
Boba Fett figures. I do have one of my favorite toys that I have is Monty Python Quest for the Holy Grail. I have the Black Knight.
Ooh,
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
For those who are
So
Monty Python fans, I definitely am, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
mhm. None
Wow.
shall pass.
Oh, that's awesome. So what's going to be your next show?
Next show, I gotta see if I want to see if I can try and make it out to
Mint?
Del Mar.
Del Mar. Okay, Union Mark
Yeah,
Place. When is that one again?
I think it's next month sometime.
I think Dan and Mike just go as spectators, not as
Yeah,
dealers this time.
just
We've
to
done it
walk
twice
around.
already, and I think he's done even more. He's probably done the Pachango one, but
Mhm.
we might just go down there for content and just walk the floor and do a couple trade nights, and that's about it.
Yeah, I may do the same if I can't swing a table or anything
Did you
like
get to
that.
walk the floor this show?
No, it was so busy. I mean, like, it was nonstop. By the time I woke up on day two, which is Saturday, my body was hurting.
Oh, I can imagine, man. My body was hurting all day Sunday,
Yeah,
and Saturday night. Did you do the show on Sunday?
yeah, I did.
Were you there all? I wasn't there. I don't know if you
I was
noticed
there
that.
all day.
You
And
were.
you know
How'd you
what?
do on Sunday?
Sunday was great.
Oh, it was.
Sunday had a good, like, some really good foot traffic
Okay.
and made some really good deals. Had a couple, like, as Dan calls it, the golden hour deals.
Right, right.
Um,
You
but
didn't
it was
mind
actually,
letting go of some of those cards at bargain bin prices.
I didn't mind. I let go. I gave deals on Sunday. There was one card I did not want to give a deal on
Okay.
because I actually wanted to send it to PSA.
Oh, it was a raw card.
It was a Topps Finest last year, 2022 Topps Finest Mandalorian, but it was a blue and it was number 1 of 150. So it was the alpha
Hmm.
card. And I had it already in the card saver ready to submit when I was going to come home. And the guy was like, I got to have it. And I was like, I'm not going to give you a deal on this because I want to send it to PSA. And he's like, it's fine. I'll pay full sticker. I was like, oh, okay.
Now you had 2 cards you showed me. I think even on day 1 or something you picked up that were just beauties, dude. 2 Star Wars cards. Do you still have those?
No. So
Both
that
of them are
was,
gone.
yeah. So on the end
That
of
was quick.
VIP night, I
Okay.
traded a gold Boba Fett Tamora Morrison auto at a
Okay.
50.
Oh
And
wow.
I traded it into a Topps Sapphire Luke #1 Aqua out of 99.
Ooh.
And the Lack of Faith from Galaxy Chrome 2022 out of the Atomic out of 150.
Mm.
And so the Luke, I was very excited. It had some print lines, but we were looking at it and we're like, this can get buffed out and probably grade really well. And I didn't even have the card for like 12 hours. Literally, first sale the next day, gone.
On what was that, Friday or Saturday?
That was gone Saturday. So I did the
Okay.
deal on, that was Friday. I did the
It
deal
was. That's what I
Thursday
thought.
night.
Okay.
Yeah. And I sold it Friday morning.
Jeez.
First deal.
So I
That
assume
was the
the
excitement
Sapphire
of Burbank.
card singles are still red hot, are still fire.
I mean, especially because that one was Luke #1.
Right.
So yeah. And then Saturday or Sunday is when Sunday was when I sold the Lack of Faith.
You sold that one on Sunday?
Yep.
For a good price?
Yeah, I sold it for the second to last comp.
Jeez.
So
Nice, man.
I mean, it was really good. And that's, the excitement that like Burbank, sent me home with and looking towards what Anaheim's going to be like.
So I'm saying, so you felt really good leaving that show on Sunday.
I felt great. It was something that I've wanted to experience and be a part of, and I'm looking forward to. I'm already like going to the drawing board and seeing, okay, what do I do from now till then? What can I grade? What
Yeah,
can
what do
I
you
buy?
do from now until then, David?
I mean, I'm an inventory guy, so I think about that kind of stuff. I think about forecasting. I'm like, so I've been thinking about some things, writing some notes down. I want to come up with a strategy because the nice thing is for a guy like me who doesn't go out of state, Very fortunate to have these opportunities here on the West Coast to do the local shows and now to start having the Burbank Card Show as a big show.
Yeah, I mean, that was one thing I was very over the holidays. I was very frustrated about and worried and a little doubtful of doing card shows anymore. Even Dan and I both, because the shows have been declining in attendance. The sales have been really declining, especially during the fall.
Yeah.
It started off with a bang, 2022 did, and then it kind of plateaued a little during the summer, and during the national we went there, and that just that was just a whole nother beast. That was just crazy amazing. But then after that, I felt like every show was just a big disappointment, and especially Dallas. Dallas was the best at the beginning of the year, was the best of shows, but it was also the worst of shows too, because during the fall they went from 600 to 750 tables.
Yeah.
And then I went to January this time, and I was very reluctant about going in January. Dan wasn't going because he went to Asia, as you know. That's why you're here. He'll be back next week. And I was doing a lot of editing and some work right now. I'm editing for award season for people. A lot of composers I edit for.
Nice.
And musicians who were nominated for awards. And I was in the Golden Globes was that same week, and I was really tired from Golden Globes. I was just exhausted. So I did not even want to be there. I did not want to go. I was like, oh God, I don't want to go. I'd probably go if Dan was here, but who am I going to hang out with? Blah, blah, blah. I just want to go lay in bed at the hotel. So I was like, you know what? The card show Nazi is not here. I'm going to do what Merle wants to do. Okay. So I was telling people dude, I did not even wake up till 11 a.m. or noon every day. I swear to God, David, I didn't wake up till noon. I was like, you know what? If people want to buy from me, if they want to sell to me, they're going to have to wait for me, because I am in no rush. Because why be in a rush like I had been doing for the past 3 shows in Dallas? Getting there early, busting my ass, working my ass off, and sell 2 or 3 cards all week at the card show.
Yeah.
And that was the way the Dallas Card Show was for the 3 last shows.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, I was the biggest seller between the curator and Brian, a Sunday League investor. They were doing worse than me, and I was only selling 3 or 4 cards.
Oh man.
So of course Brian was in the same mood. Brian didn't even show up. He didn't even set up just for one day in Dallas, just Saturday. And let me tell you, I didn't even have, set. I wasn't even set by until 1 o'clock on Friday and Saturday and Sunday. I was just taking my lazy time. And let me tell you, I had one of the best shows ever. Best shows ever. That's the irony of it all. It was great. I was like, oh my God, it's back again. It is back. Thank God. And then I didn't have a show again. And believe it or not, even before that, let me take that back. Before Christmas, I think I told you before you came on the show that I decided to do those 2 premiere shows, Jay's shows. Yeah. One, the Saturday was in Brea, and then they had it the next day in Arcadia, right?
Arcadia, yeah.
And I also thought, man, I'm not going to sell any cards here. So I mainly bought a lot of product. I brought a lot of wax because I can drive the wax. Yeah. And I don't know if you know or not, but I had a case of Pixar, the white short stuff. And I had a case of the Star Wars white shorts.
Okay.
It didn't even last an hour on my table. So that was my biggest seller. But believe it or not, all I sold was cards. I only sold 1 graded card. And usually I sell at these kind of shows $300 to $400. And I just thought, I'll make upgraded cards. And I'll make $300 or $400 to take with me to North Carolina to see my folks and have some Christmas money for my girlfriend and I when we go visit my parents.
Yeah.
But dude, it had totally flipped on me. I sold a lot of sports cards even. I sold cards and that was one thing I think, you know how this is. I was kind of worried because, like I said, I'm not like Dan. I get really frugal and a little freaked out when I'm not selling cards. And I'm like, well, if I'm not selling, why should I be buying? why should I be investing if the cards I'm investing aren't selling?
Yeah.
Because I need to figure out what the hell is going on. Do you feel that way too?
Yeah. So I have a rule for myself when I
What
do a
is it?
show and I'm not selling, let's say the show's 8 hours.
Right.
If I go 4 hours with no sales,
Hmm.
I got to leave my table and I got to go move some cards. I got to go see
Oh,
what's
you will
going on
do
out
that
there.
too.
So I'll leave and I will take a stack and I will try and rotate my inventory. I'll go try and trade into something. I'll go see if dealers are interested in giving them a a deal on that. And if people aren't coming to my table, I'm going to take my cards to other tables.
You do?
And yeah, and that's
And when
been
did you
very.
learn how to do that?
Um, I somewhat. I was at a show and the guy next to me had done it. I can't remember
Okay.
who it was. Oh,
That's okay.
yeah, but he was like, it's pretty dead. And I was like, yeah. And he goes, I'll be back. And I was like, okay. And he grabbed a few things and he came back and he was excited. He was excited about what he had picked up. And I was
Okay.
like,
You saw the spark in his face,
okay,
the
I
spark
see
in his
what you
eye.
did. Yeah. Because you can't, as much as we put the efforts into growing our social media presence and doing reels and all that stuff, and many
Right.
people know what inventory we have. We can't just always expect people to come and find us at this table. Sometimes we got to go out there, meet some new people, see some new cards, and be able to maybe spend or trade or do what we got to do at that point, so that way we can, feel content with our efforts at a show.
Hmm. That's great. That's great to hear. Because that was the most thing I was worried about. Like I said, stale inventory.
Yeah.
Like, because I wasn't really buying. Don't really move as much as Dan does or Brian, walking around the floor. And I was just getting worried, like, oh my God, it's the same cards. But
Yeah.
luckily, during the last premiere show back in December, I started selling some stuff, started buying. The last Dallas show, I think it's because Curator wasn't there. Because he steals a lot of it. Since we're almost the exact same dealer, he steals a lot of my thunder, and I have to get the sloppy seconds that he doesn't buy. And I'm like, damn, maybe we should split somewhere, because I'm just getting you're just sending me over the leftovers, and he's just like,
I
he's
gotta
like,
admit, when I looked at
what's
the
the
map.
dog's name from the Hanna-Barbera ones that
Oh,
that's Dan. That's the Curator. I'm like, yeah, you got. And so I was selling like crazy. I was buying, and of course, this
that's
show.
awesome.
So a lot of that stale inventory I got rid of.
That's good.
So that made my day, and I'm selling new stuff. And so you got to keep that flow going, right? You got to get that wheel turning. That flow, because get that oxygen going. I'm selling, I'm buying, and I'm selling. You got to keep it constant.
That's one of the things I tell new dealers is you got to learn to rotate your inventory.
Yes, rotate your inventory.
And so, it's either finding another dealer who you can trade with or sell to, and give them a deal, and maybe they have the customer base who will go ahead and take it. We're very fortunate to have Burbank Sports Cards. One of the things I do is every quarter, I look at what is not moving, what I don't want to have in my case anymore, and I'll take it to Ryan. And I'll go ahead and trade it in for a box. I'll trade it in for a card, or I'll just go ahead and take some cash. I'll go ahead.
But you're not getting that full comp that you paid for that card, right?
You have to be comfortable with that. You have to understand that's part of the process of getting a refresh, or having new inventory, or getting a box and maybe just enjoying ripping a box. That was the last thing I did last year, was took a stack of cards. They weren't really moving. Didn't want to try and do anything. Went in there, traded it, grabbed a box of Topps Finest, and had fun ripping that. I pulled like a gold R2D2. I got a sketch.
Well, there you go. You already made your money back and more.
Yeah. And so you got to be comfortable doing that, knowing that there's always opportunities if you move things forward. Right. So one of the things I talk about is if you get stuck, you got to learn how to reposition yourself, because if you don't reposition yourself, you're going to stay stuck. Whether it's in a card or a position or inventory, you have to be able to readjust, reposition, so that way you keep moving forward.
So even if you have to sell a card you paid $500 for, you may have to sell it for $250 or even less, just to get that cash back, and maybe move it into something that will appreciate. Correct?
Exactly.
But you got to think wisely, right?
think wisely, recognize if there is a loss, it's not the biggest loss if you can find something that gets you profit going forward,
Right. So would you buy like say if you had to sell a card that you paid 500 for, but you had to take like a hit and sell it for just 250, what are you going to do? Invest it into like a card you can appreciate or take that risk on versus, or you not even take a risk because you don't want to take a risk this time. You want to be more conservative and know that the card you buy next time is not as risky as this one was. So
Yeah,
like
what I
a
like
nice
doing
Darth Vader or whatever, correct?
yeah, when I take a loss, which happens on the regular, I think
Okay.
people should know, like, it's not all profits when we do this,
Right.
guys. It's not all profits. But when you take that loss and you're making that decision, what I like to do is I like to go find a raw card that I can grade,
Oh, is
because
that
grading leads to a bigger return, a bigger profit. If you get that high grade, if you get that gem, right? There's the multipliers that come by. There's the low pop. There's all those things that you can kind of run into. So I look for the card that is I can put work into that's going to give me a bigger opportunity than the card that is just stale in my inventory.
right? And that's the next question I was going to ask you. Like maybe you also use that tactic as a seller too. Like you got to kind of mix up some of your graded cards with some raw cards.
Yeah.
And see, I didn't do that for the longest time. And maybe these last couple shows, I started because I'm like, I don't want to get these graded right now. Maybe I should bring these with me, even though they're raw. Let's see how it happens. And maybe at these last two shows, that's why it's been successful for me, because I've thrown in those raw cards. Those will get graded by PSA or SGC.
Yeah.
And those cards end up even selling. I don't even have them with me. So maybe you have to have that graded and non-graded variety in your case. Do you agree?
Absolutely. That's why, my two cases at Burbank had probably about 60% graded, 40% raw.
And so how do you decide which cards you want to get graded?
First, are they going to grade well? I think that's like the number one thing.
Okay, good. Yeah. So you kind of re-examine them, right?
Yeah. So I examine them if I feel they're going to grade well. And when I'm looking at cards, my standards are very high now. I'm only looking for 10s, because it gets really hard if you're okay grading something you think is a 9 and it comes back an 8. Because it really lowers your expectations. If you're looking at a card and you think it's going to gem and you get back a 9, there's still money to be made in those cards, right? So yeah, it's really like deciding. I had a whole stack of probably about 20 cards that I had wanted to grade, but I was already slab heavy in my inventory for Burbank. So I made the decision to just hold off and wait till after the show to go ahead and send my next submission. And about half of those cards that I took that were raw,
right,
they ended up selling, which was really great. So
nice.
And then I still have the other half that I can go ahead and send into PSA and get them graded.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is, like, I mean, even though you and we've only been in it like as a dealer for a couple of years now.
Yeah.
That we're always learning.
Yeah.
Yes, always learning, right?
Yeah, totally. I mean, there's questions I have, and I'll go to Daniel, I'll go to Merlin, I'll go to Mama Breaks.
Same here with you.
we have to. We're a community. The best thing is we're a community. We can do that. We're friends. We're all part of it. Yeah, we want to go ahead and make some money. We want to make some fun sales. We want to make some profits and all that. But when you get into that business side, you can't just do it on your own. You got to have a partnership. You got to have the right people who are pointing you in the right direction, and supporting you as well. So that's where that's what I love about the hobby, is we have that.
Okay, so before we go into the comments here, go through the comments and end the show, I want to ask you, what's your most prized possessions of cards?
So I have a 1977 George Lucas sticker and a PSA 10.
Okay, and tell us more about it.
It's basically like if there was a George Lucas rookie sticker, that would be it. And
really?
Yeah, when I think about Star Wars, when I think about Marvel, the whole Disney IP, especially like in Star Wars, it all started with not Vader. It didn't start with Luke. It all started with George Lucas and his vision. And so I'm just a big George Lucas fan. because of that. And so
I'm a film school nerd, so of course I love George Lucas.
yeah, did you see the Light and Magic show on Disney Plus?
Not yet. Should I?
Oh, you need to. That's all your alley.
That might be something I watch tonight when my girlfriend goes to bed. We're gonna watch
the
last episode of Last of Us, and then
I haven't seen that yet. I'm waiting so that
it came out on Friday, but we've been so busy with Super Bowl and stuff. So I should watch it. Was that a movie or a series?
It's a 6 or 8 episode series on Disney Plus, and it talks about the development of ILM, Industrial Light and Magic.
And what is it called again?
It's
Light
called
and Magic.
Light and Magic.
Then I'm on it. Then I'm gonna watch that.
Such a great show. It talks about like the how ILM and George Lucas really pushed technology forward when it came to film, and not just film, but like music and costume and scripts for movies and stuff like that, and how it impacted the movie industry that we have today. So
the blockbusters, right?
Oh yeah, total blockbusters.
The birth of the blockbusters.
Yeah, the people he had under him who became big producers and all that stuff, and so. But George Lucas is like that's my Tom Brady, that's my Michael Jordan.
So the Lucas is how many? What's the pop on that? Just out of curiosity.
I think it's a pop 11.
Okay, and then what's the value? May I ask?
There's one on eBay that I saw. I don't know if it's still there, but it was like around $800.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so what's your most prized autograph card?
Ooh, I have 2. And it's from the last Topps Finest set from 2022. I have the black 10 of 10 Tamora Morrison auto, and I also have the black 10 of 10 Jeremy Bullock auto. So I have the original Boba Fett auto.
That's Boba Fett, right?
And our modern day Boba Fett.
Right. Yeah, I'm on the quest right now. I wish I could have done it this weekend because Anthony, Divine Warrior, Divine Warrior?
I've seen him on social.
Yeah, he's got the high-end premium, high-end premium Star Wars stuff. And he has a couple of Pedro Pascals that I really, really want. Because I think those cards, especially Last of Us, being a huge success, and Mandalorian coming out again in season 3, in March, beginning of March. So it's going to like Pedro's going back to back with like the blockbuster shows.
Yeah, he's
going to be on fire, man.
Oh yeah.
So I want to get that. I want to get Rosario Dawson auto before what's it going to be called? I don't even know what's going to be called. Ahsoka Tano.
Her Ahsoka show. Yeah,
is that what's going to be called?
They haven't come out with the title yet, but we know that she's having her own show.
Oh, most definitely, because we went to Star Wars Celebration last year, and she spoke there. Did a Q&A, and she said, it comes out. I do know it comes out in 2023, unless they pushed it, but hopefully they didn't. So I think it's spring or summer. I'm not sure.
It's going to be whenever they drop the big blockbusters, because it's going to be, I think, Disney's biggest.
Well, besides Mandalorian season 3.
I think it's going to be bigger.
You think so?
Yes.
Oh, wow. So there you go. So I need to get it before there's too much hype on that card and they all like skyrocket like 5 times more.
There's my pump. There's my Daniel pump right there.
Yeah, I know. Pump and dump them, man. But you don't own any of those? I can't buy them from you?
No, I don't. I wish I did. I'm always on the hunt. I'm
always going to have to go to Divine Warrior for them. Dude, did you see he had just sold his Masterworks Natalie Portman 1/1, but he just acquired the Stellar Signatures 1/1.
Ooh, the Stellar Signatures are awesome cards.
Well, he said he sold the Masterworks for almost $40,000.
Yeah,
to a client. And he said that the Stellar Signatures, he said, is only probably worth about 15. Huge difference, he said. Because someone asked him what the difference of those two are, and he's like, he's such a Star Wars expert. He's like, oh, you don't know? He's like, huge difference. One's 40, the other one's 15. And I was like, whoa, that is a huge gap.
That's a big gap.
Did you know that?
No, I didn't. I
learned a lot from Anthony with the high-end Star Wars stuff.
Yeah. I don't deal too much in the high end.
You got to, man. Come on, where's your cash?
Trying to get there, trying to following you guys, trying to make those moves and stuff.
When I first met Anthony, man, he had some of that stuff. Then I came back to look like 2 days later in Chicago, and it was all sold, man. I was like, oh my God, it's like $100,000 worth of cards. He's like, one person bought them. You know, he's a client. And they came and bought them all. Like, who bought, including the Pedro that Dan and I were going to split and buy and invest in ourselves.
Oh my gosh.
And it was gone. We were going to come. We went over there to buy it and it was already gone. That was just like 12 hours later. We were like, snooze,
that's
you
another
lose.
thing I like about with dealing with Star Wars cards is you deal with collectors. And collectors have a different mindset when they're buying cards from you. It's not like the sports, you know, where they're like worried about injury, worried about playoffs, worried about performance. When you see these Star Wars cards, the collector mindset is, I want it.
It is. Well, yeah, I'm going to have to. Did you hear from Daps about his card trade night?
Yes, I did.
Okay, yeah. I want to make sure you're invited to that. So make sure you. Well, I got your email and stuff.
I hit up.
I need your phone number to make sure I put you on that list.
Daniel said I was on the list, but you make sure because.
I'll make sure. I'll double check with you because you got to come next week. It's on the 24th.
Okay.
I'll be posting it as well, some more information, but I'll be there. So I hope you're there as well. So let's go over the comments and we'll get you out of here. Okay. I'm sure you want to get some rest because you got to work tomorrow.
I do got to work.
I don't. Well, I've got to do some stuff and I've got to go help Daps actually. So tomorrow I got to get my card taken care of. I got during when I was at the Dallas Card Show, you know, we had all those storms and my car windshield got damaged. So I need to replace it tomorrow. But it's okay. That's life. The little time that it rains here and thunderstorms, that happened to me. Let's see here. Pokey Hello Sports. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Pokey Hello Sports. Pokey. You know Pokey Hello Sports?
I don't.
Since you like Pokemon too? Search X. Yo, what's up, guys? What's up, man? Emmanuel Del Gaudio. What's up, guys? He's always watching our show. Jake Ryan also. Ayo, evening, Merlin. What's up, La.Cardguy?
What's up, Jake?
Vintage Lord Canada, rise and shine. That's right. It's Merlin card time and between two slabs, man, every Tuesday. Big John Collector's Cards. He's always watching us too. Hey, what's up, man? Ed Ram, he's from Houston. Evening, fellas from H-Town. Ed's always watching. He's also dealing too. Will and Dylan, you see him at the Dallas Card Show. Good guy. Feed the gods. Aaron, what's up, man? Good evening, everyone. Have you met Aaron before?
No, I haven't.
He's always at card shows. We missed him at Burbank. Aaron, we missed you, buddy. Hopefully we'll see you pretty soon. Richard Price, what do you think about James Earl Jones on card autos? You want to elaborate?
Yeah, so James Earl Jones, he's the original for Darth Vader. And I think that's people like him. So he's the voice, right? James Earl Jones.
Who's also the voice of CNN.
Yeah. So a lot of people like him. He was a successful actor, you know, in his time. So I think it's a great.
Still alive, right?
Yeah, still alive. Yeah. And then a lot of people are on the flip side where they don't go after James Earl Jones. They'll go for David Prowse, who was the actor.
That's the actor. That's the person in the suit at the time.
The person in the suit. Yeah.
Right, but that wasn't who was the face in Return of the Jedi when they took the helmet off right before he passed and Luke.
Oh yeah. I don't know if that's David Prowse now. I should go look into that.
Oh, you know what the thing is? Let me show you real quick before we finish the show. Well, I'm still thinking about it. But I opened on Saturday night trade night. I opened up a box of Galaxy. One of the first boxes I opened because Dan was giving me hell, and someone goes, "Bring one to the trade night to open." So I decided to open one of my 6 boxes. And I only got 2 serial number refractors because, you know, you get a regular base refractor in every pack, correct?
Yeah.
But I only got 2 refractors and 1 auto. And I don't have the auto here. I don't know who it was. You probably know, but someone said it was pretty good. But I don't know the character. But someone goes, "Don't whine, Merlin. Your cards are really, really good. So you have nothing to bitch about." So I want to show them to you, okay? It's on my live stream from Saturday night. Even though I kept having to do it 3 times because did you know they kicked us? Were you at trade night Saturday?
Yeah.
Okay.
I came by you.
We were about to do it, but they closed at 11, whereas Thursday and Friday they stayed up till midnight or 1.
Yeah.
And I left early Friday thinking they're going to stay up to 1 o'clock on Friday. And so I was like, dude, I need some rest if I'm going to make it these 2 long days. And I left at 11 o'clock Friday because I wanted to stay really late on Saturday. And then they kicked everybody out at 11. I was like, really?
Yeah, that was really interesting. We were like barely setting up, and they're like, "Time to go."
Yeah,
Like,
I know.
oh.
So we all moved. I don't know if you moved over to the DoubleTree.
Yeah, we went to DoubleTree.
You did? Okay. So I opened up a box out. Did you see me open the box or not? I can't even remember.
No, I was over there by the bar.
Oh, you are? Yeah, we moved over because I needed to find an extension, a power outlet.
Oh,
And
okay.
so everybody was helping me, and we finally found one like down the hall.
Yeah.
So I could get the shot. So I got 2. Let me show you what they are. So I got this one here, David.
Okay.
That's an atomic fractor out of 150, right?
Nice. Luke with his speeder.
Yeah, it's called Life on Tatooine.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a pretty nice card, right? Would you agree?
I think so, yeah.
And then, and last but not least, I said I got 2. So what do you think about this one?
Oh, is that an X-Fractor?
It is. That's numbered out of 10. The
Wow.
Shadow of the Dark Lord. So that's Darth and Luke at the bottom there. So that's in the Death Star on very top. So I'd say this is a pretty good hit. What do you think?
That's a very
or 2 good hits, both of them, because one's Luke. So, and like you said, anything with Darth Vader moves, correct?
Oh yeah, and that card has been moving. I've been watching it.
Yeah, so I pulled that one. So I guess I can, for a $300 box, I probably got my money back and more. Would you agree?
Absolutely.
So I should be pretty happy, even though I only got 2. I didn't hit a hot box because that will always usually make me open a box with him, because every time I do, I hit a hot box.
Uh-huh.
Every time I've opened one of his boxes, I've pulled 5 to 6 serial number refractors out of a box.
Out of 2022?
21.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I think I pulled of his. I pulled 3 or 4 though.
Oh, wow.
And they still said that's considered a hot box.
Yeah, because you typically only see 2 numbered cards now,
Oh,
which is really another, kind of bummer on Topps end, for kind of reducing the amount of numbered cards you can get.
So what do you think is because they have more cases this time versus last?
I think so. I think that's why.
So it's harder to hit.
Yeah.
So do you think the PSA 10s or the SGC 10 cards that will be graded this year will be worth more than the regular cards because of the black borders and the distribution and everything?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen enough cards to, if you've handled the product enough, you'll know there is a little bit of centering issue.
Mm-hmm.
And
then the black border, of course.
The black border, which makes it more evident. On refractors, the card quality, like base refractors, the card quality is really rough. On the numbered parallels, they did use a different card stock, and it does look like a
really
printing process. Yeah, you could tell when you open up the pack, your base cards and your refractor cards, they're going to be like a little bit thinner, and then your numbered card is going to be a little bit thicker.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, and so, which is like a good thing as well, because they're doing a better quality card on the numbered stuff.
Oh, so. Okay, that's good then.
Yeah.
Let's see Ed here. Ed, Merlin, we don't see the rose petals and chocolates on the bed. I didn't want to scare David too much. I only do that for the curator. Since we're always sharing hotel rooms. In my Brittany wig, Spears wig. Feed the gods. I'm planning on going to the Union Marketplace show over in July over at Pachanga. I'll love to meet up with both of you there. Yeah, hopefully it's not the same week or me getting ready for the National, because I know Dan, curator, myself, Mo of Paper Gemz, and Brian of Cindy League Investor, we're all sharing 2 booths together at the National. You're going to have to come, David, this one, to Chicago.
We'll see.
Dude, you got to have PTO days.
I do have.
Then use them wisely, my brother. Use them wisely and hang out with us and attend. You will love it. It'll be worth the trip.
I would totally.
Please
want to.
let your wife allow you to go. Okay.
Yeah. No, I don't think it's a so little insight. Like the company I work for, we're trying to merge 2 companies right now, and it's taking the whole year to do it.
Well, hopefully they merge by then, or just tell them, hurry up and do it, because you need to go to the National. Tell them, listen, I've got things I got to do. Merge, folks.
Yeah. No,
I gotta like will and deal some Star Wars cards and other things.
Yeah, we're working on it. But it's definitely like Want to get to that for sure.
Dude, you will love it, and I think it's the best time. It's in Chicago, so the airport is just right there. You can even book a hotel room like the week of. I did it the last time, 2 times in Chicago. Atlantic City, that was a rough one. It was hard to get a hotel. It's really away from the airport. You have to fly into Philadelphia to New York, and then it's over an hour drive via Uber or train to get there. And then every time you have to leave the casino, the hotel, it's another Uber drive. So that would, it's good that you missed that one, because you'd totally been like, disenchanted with it, the National. But all the hotels are all right there at the convention in Chicago, and it's not dangerous. It's very safe because it's in the suburbs. So if you're going to go in Chicago of all of them. Okay.
Definitely going to try it.
Big John collector cards. Topps Finest is hard to move. Okay, do you agree? Topps Finest is hard to move for Star Wars?
I mean, not all the cards move. I would say
or is it just the choice of cards?
Yeah, it's probably the choice of cards. So like Yoda, moves really well.
Is there a Grogu in the Finest?
There is a Grogu in the Finest. There's a Mandalorian in the Finest. There is an Ahsoka. If you can get color matching ones, like I had a blue Cad Bane. Cad Bane is, his face is blue, and people like that it matched that way.
Oh, I didn't think about that. Ooh, yeah. Thanks for pointing that out.
Yeah. Green Yodas, those sell.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So I think it's just
like depends. A blue RTD2 or a yellow or gold,
gold C3PO. Yeah. Like I think it just depends on what you're trying to
move. Black Vader?
Black Vader or a red Darth Maul, So
a black or a red Darth Maul.
Yeah, so I think it just depends. Like not all of them are movers, right? Every set that comes out, no matter whether it's sports or Star Wars or any non-sport, has its bulk within it, right? So
was there ever a time when you were like, man, I'm going to invest in this Star Wars card because I think this is going to be red hot, it's going to be hyped, and it was an epic fail?
No.
Oh no. Okay. Good for you, man.
Yeah, no.
You didn't really prospect any Star Wars cards, and you totally failed on the prospecting of it?
You know who I failed on? Okay. It wasn't Star Wars. It was in Marvel. Doctor Strange. Which is weird because he's a really great actor. Dude. Really great actor.
Yeah, you mean Benedict Cumberbatch. I mean, you want to do the MCU cards, correct?
Yeah, and a really good first movie. Second movie was a little bit but
it had a lot of hype going in.
And I bought a lot of 1990 and other ones and it just did not move as well as any other Marvel cards. It was very odd.
Yeah, dude, same here. I made the mistake as well. The only thing that I was able to move Doctor Strange was the Black Diamond, or I think were the Exquisite. What was it? The nice thick cards of the MCU.
Yeah.
That was the autograph of Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah.
And the other MCU characters that were autographs. They were super high-end cards, but at the Dallas show, I had no trouble moving them at all.
Yeah,
but that was the only thing of Doctor Strange I didn't have trouble moving.
Everything else seemed to move. Like Moon Knight moved really good.
Really?
Iron Man moves really good.
Iron Man always moves well, though.
Yeah, but Doctor Strange was a bit of a flop.
But I guess Iron Man is kind of like the GOAT.
Yeah, he's definitely the GOAT.
And Spider-Man.
For sure.
Definitely. Yeah. Let's see here. 25 Perez, elbow bump. Okay, dude. Emmanuel, Ontario Burbank Card Show was my first show. Oh, wow, it was.
Nice.
Well, congrats, man. Good one to go to. It was great, but it was just too much sports. I collect Star Trek, Battlestar Galactica, SG-1, and Star Wars.
What is SG-1?
Stargate.
Oh,
is that right?
Okay.
Stargate.
Okay. I think you're right.
Did you watch Stargate?
I remember the first movie.
Yeah. Did you know what I've been buying this weekend? I should bought one at the show, and I bought them on eBay. I have been buying the Game of Thrones auto of Emma Ramsey, so she's in The Last of Us.
Oh, okay.
She's the main girl in The Last of Us, and she was Lady Mormont in Game of Thrones, the little girl who now had become the queen because everybody in her tribe had died.
Yeah.
And she, was really, real spicy one there that
Yeah.
she'd stand up at the meetings, the
Yeah.
town hall meetings, and give her like 2 cents. And, she was what at the time, 12 going on, 30.
I did buy an Emilia Clarke Game of Thrones card out of 199.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
From the Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. And those are still doing well?
I just bought it because she's a great character. It was a great show. There's a big fan base behind that. So.
Oh, most definitely. I've had many come and go.
Yeah.
And I can't wait for House of Dragon cards to come out. How about you?
Oh,
Will you buy them?
Totally. I want dragon cards, just like cards with the dragons on them.
Oh, they're going to have those, man, because there's so many. They got to be included with the characters, don't you think?
Oh, yeah, because they actually went into the different, dragons and who they were, and they're kind of the biggest.
Oh, yeah, I had to read up on it on the Wikipedia. I was like, oh, man, I already kind of know a little more than I should, but oh, well, I kind of cheated. But there's already a history of the House of Dragon, or what's called what's it called? The Dragon Dance or whatever, Dance with Dragons. Is that what this era is called?
I think so.
Yeah. So I already kind of delved into that part. Went through a rabbit hole because I was so into it at the time. Carlos, kids are the future of the hobby. Merlin is right. Pay it forward. Yeah, you got to. Especially with all these expensive cards. Like, kids can't afford this. We didn't have cards where all the cards are that price. When we were kids, at least we had cheap cards at some point that we could afford.
Yeah.
My parents were like, I had so many kids at my table this time too who've got cards that are like $10,000-$15,000, and I'm like you said, these kids are pre-teens.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait a minute, I was lucky to have $5 when I was their age.
Right. I remember as a kid, my allowance was $5 to mow the lawn. And I would take that $5 and I would go buy a Pokemon card.
I'm sorry. I was in the 80s and mine was 10.
I was a little bit rebellious.
I was washing Mercedes and Porsches at the time. Premium cars. But I used it wisely, man. I went to concerts even then. Carlos, it's not all about the money. You have to enjoy what you're collecting. So true. That kid was a savage regarding David's kid. Who was offended by David giving him a free pack of just children cards.
Yeah. You gotta enjoy what you're collecting, whether it's sports or non-sport.
Emmanuel, LOL. Yeah, he's laughing against that comment. Some people are in on their hustle. So many kids are on their hustle. That's probably something you learned when you got back into this hobby 2 years ago, right?
Yeah, I mean, any dealer that sets up at a show, there's been that kid who comes and they're trying to do the trade up challenge, or they want one of your cards for lower than what you have it, but real low, not even negotiable low, because they do it because they realize they're a kid and they can ask that, so.
And so what, do you say no?
The first couple times I said yes, and then I realized I can't just lose money to every single kid that walks up to my table.
So you got burned by a kid once?
Twice, because I was feeling for the kid. I was like, what do I say? No to a kid? And then you realize you got to say no to a kid when
you're like, the kid is one SOB.
Then you're like, hey, listen, let's go to the value box and give you a couple cards from there, rather than you trying to take this, $80 card off my hand for,
and they're like, how dare you? I only trade real cards.
Yeah. You come across that.
Carlos, not fair for those who paid.
That's
gangster. Correct, Carlos. I collect Star Wars toys and some sports, just like David does. Emmanuel, I hope Anaheim will have more non-sports variety. Do you agree? Did you not think there was enough non-sports variety that you had anticipated, or what?
Well, usually when I set up, or when we set up, it's we pretty much are the oddballs at the show, right? Because if there's 100 tables at this show, there's only 4 of us who are going to have non-sports. Everyone else is really non-sports. So I'm kind of just used to that already. But what I think is nice is the Burbank Card Show did have CGC there, and people were coming with posters and comics to drop off to get graded.
Oh, really?
And that brings in a different crowd than.
So they came there, dropped their stuff off, and they would also then walk the floor, seeing what's around.
So I think I think the Burbank team has that in mind, that they are looking to grab a bigger audience outside of just sports cards, in traditional.
Yeah, I also saw a lot of people who were interested. I mean, even your friend Raul want to know if I had any more of the Weiss Schwartz Pixar cards left.
Oh, he was selling that like hotcakes.
Yeah, that's what he said, and he asked if I had any extra stuff, and
He had a
I'm all out.
stack, big stack on his table, and by the end of the show, he barely had any. He was just moving them.
Yeah, so Weiss Schwartz has gotten very popular. Like I said, did you grab any of the Weiss Schwartz Star Wars? Have you bought any of that?
I have. There's a new Weiss Schwartz coming out for Disney. It's called Celebrations.
Yes, yeah. Everybody's telling me I should grab onto that. Do you agree? Are you going to grab some?
Yeah, because it's going to have a mix of Marvel.
What? I mean, the whole studio.
Yeah, so
variety.
it's like, yeah. There's
wow,
like Marvel poster
not just
cards,
Pixar
Star
and Mickey
Wars,
and Minnie, but all their other franchises that they own now.
There's I'll have to send it to you, but there is a Steamboat Willie
because
card.
Disney owns Star Wars now, right?
Exactly.
And they own Marvel.
Yep.
Who else do they own? Oh,
All
the Muppets.
Disney, all the Disney characters, the Muppets. So
all that'll be included.
Yeah, there's a really cool Steamboat Willie card that I want to go after,
which is the original Mickey Mouse short film.
Exactly.
That blew Walt Disney out of the water and became a breakthrough hit.
Yeah.
At the opening of movies before the feature films.
And we're going to have a card of that available to us when that
comes out. So when's that coming out, David?
I don't know. I've just seen previews so far, but
we got to get some, man.
Got to get some.
Pull some. Did you pull anything good out of those Weiss Schwartz Star Wars?
The parallel cards are really nice. I had a really nice parallel Han Solo and Luke, and I think a Darth Vader. Those all sold like I think the last show that I had done. I didn't get to rip any of the Pixar though, but I did buy a bunch of singles. I bought some.
I was gonna. I had like 3 boxes I was gonna open up, but I did so well at the premiere show that I took the other 3 with me to Arcadia the next day and sold them all.
There you go. That's what happens.
I paid like $60 for the boxes and sold them for like $150.
At the Burbank. I mean, people who don't know, Weiss Schwartz boxes come out about $60-$80, and then when they get hot, they go straight to $160.
Have you graded any? Because I know everybody's been grading them. They're coming back they're all coming back Gemz, and then there's Min, who runs Graded Guard, had some of his cards, and he had them in PSA 10s. He had Mr. Minty crack them for him, and then he resubmitted them to BGS this weekend on site grading, and they all came back black labels.
So the thing about Weiss Schwartz that a lot of people don't know, and I've shared this with people, is it's probably the best quality card being produced in the hobby right now. And a lot of TCG collectors, TCG trading card game collectors, they to them BGS is king, not PSA.
Really?
And they send
because they want that pristine rating, right?
They get black labels
very
easily.
And these were the what's the sexy anime girls? Japanese anime girls, like the bunny.
There's so many they come out with.
But my friends had them this weekend for those, and they decided they were going to pop. I was like, that's pretty risky. Cracking PSA 10s and then resubmitting to the BGS, but they all came, like you said, this weekend. I guess they were being generous, and they all came back black labels.
Yeah, if you go on eBay,
that means all quads are all 10s, right?
Yeah. If you go on eBay and look up Weiss Schwartz BGS, you'll be shocked how many black label BGS Weiss Schwartz cards you'll come across compared to BGS, LeBron James or Clayton Kershaw, like all of our normal sports guys, Tom Brady and all that stuff. There's so little in comparison to how well the card quality is with Weiss Schwartz.
We got to get some of the Pixar and Star Wars graded then, man. And the Disney stuff.
I definitely want to go ahead and try that.
Golly.
Yeah.
Oh, here's Adam Trader Griffs. Sorry I missed you at the show. I brought some of my wife's medicine for your neck. I couldn't get up there till Sunday because of too many kids' sports on Saturday. Yeah, Adam, I told you I wasn't going to be there Sunday. I was cooking some Merle Chex mix for the Super Bowl and just getting mentally prepared because my girl and I are both huge Chiefs fans. And I just did not want to drive there and back and have the When you're in LA traffic, you're trying to get to LA. You don't know what might happen on the freeway. And so I wasn't going to take any risk of missing the game, and glad I didn't, because that was one hell of a game. David, did you watch the game?
I didn't. I took advantage because I stayed all the way till the end of the show.
Yeah.
And then I drove home, which was a great drive home because it was mid-game. There was no traffic.
Oh, it was like the pandemic, right?
Yeah, so it was really nice time for me.
Oh,
Because,
wow.
right?
Did you watch the end of it at least?
I caught the end of it, so it was very
Okay.
exciting. Really, I mean,
You watched the best part then.
yeah. I mean, I was going for Mahomes. I was so excited for him to win. So, kudos to Kansas City for sure.
Yeah, man. Sorry I messed you, Adam. Hopefully I can see you the next show. Let me know which one you're going to be at. Also, I'm going to be, Dan and I are going to do our first, I guess you call it your non-sports card show. We'll be doing the WrestleCon at WrestleMania, week of WrestleMania, downtown LA at the Millennium Biltmore Hotel, that fancy hotel there, downtown Figueroa. I think it's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but we'll be there selling nothing but wrestling cards, and maybe Dan will sell some of his wrestling belts. That's how you and I met him at the show. He used to sell the wrestling belts. It's WrestleMania is April 1st and 2nd, so I guess it's March 31st, April 1st and 2nd, and it's like mostly in the morning until like 2, and then there's so many wrestling events, like a lot of indie events. I know Ring of Honor is going to be on Friday night. I bought tickets for Ring of Honor. Dan still wants to maybe go to WrestleMania only if he gets the first 10 rows. And he wants us to, or he really wants to be in the first 5 rows and wear our Between Two Slabs shirts and be on the camera side so he can have free advertising. That's Dan's motive.
I could totally see that. Yeah.
And then I went to look on StubHub, and they're like $10,000 tickets. I'm like, oh hell no, Dan. Like, oh my god, my girlfriend would kill me, man.
Yeah.
She's like, that's a European trip for both of us. How dare you?
Yeah.
Unless you want to give me some date, unless y'all want to start a GoFundMe for Merlin's WrestleMania show, then y'all can help me, guys, viewers. Other than that, I don't see it unless Dan wants to pay for my ticket. If he can sell, one of his real estate, stuff for me, if he's nice enough. But it's going to have to take someone being really nice to me and generous. I don't think I can do it myself. How about you? Have you ever spent that much on a ticket?
No,
for anything?
No way.
Yeah, I know, that's $5,000 per night.
Yeah, that's intense.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to really, you'd have to really see my T-shirt.
Yeah.
Let's see what Ed says. People don't see what it takes to set up for a show. The hours for pricing, sleeving, traveling, and they haggle on a $5 card. Oh God, I even had that this weekend. I had some. That's what bids my corner. But I had some. Oh gosh, what's the guy that's up there? Brock Purdy cards.
Yeah.
I had it for price for 15. People were like, "You can take 5 or 10." I'm like, dude, I just had 5 cards. You're looking at the last 2 or 1 card left. I had no trouble moving them at 15, and now you're trying to haggle it down to 5 or 10. There's not much wiggle room. Sorry, but they end up buying it anyway. You have that issue too?
Yeah, it happens often. You've got a $10 card and they want it for $5, and you're like, you don't realize that's a 50% discount. Like, not even like, department stores are giving 50% discounts on the regular. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we're not charity, are we, David? We're not charity. No, when you get down that low, there's not much wiggle room anymore, is there? I'm already I've already done the wiggle room part of it.
Yeah, exactly.
I still below comped it.
Yeah.
Like, take it where someone else does, is what I tell them. Do you tell them the same?
Oh yeah, I let them know, like, hey, like 4 people have walked by this card already. Like, that means there's 4 other people who could come back. You may want to pick this up now.
Yeah, I already sold 4 of them. Why am I going to give you the charity discount?
Yeah.
I'm not even desperate to sell it at this point. I'll just hold it till next season. CV Sports Cards. Adrian, what's up, guys? What did I miss? You missed it all, dude. What a hell of a weekend, guys. Merlin was on fire. Good to see you, David, at the show and on live. Yeah, he took Dan's table spot for the weekend. That was his first big show as well.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Adam, what's up, Adrian? Yeah, okay, he's telling Adrian there. CV Sports Cards. Okay, I'm just hitting their conversation. Oh, Trader Griff's Adam. I picked up a 36 Jesse Owens 4x100 card at the show. Probably the coolest thing I picked up out of Burbank. And if people don't know, Jesse Owens was probably one of the first black runners for Americans, especially during that time. He was a gold medalist at 1936 Olympics in Berlin, Germany. At the time, Adolf Hitler was the leader of Germany then. So him winning all the sports probably was just eating up Hitler all during that time. And he was like the Jackie Robinson of Olympics around that time, wasn't he, David?
Yeah, I want to see this card. I've definitely heard of Jesse Owens. I want to see what this card looks like.
Yeah. Adam, send us a picture of it on our IGs, okay? Emmanuel, The Last of Us was the greatest story in a game I have ever played in my life, and the show was even better. Yes, it is. I've never even played the game. David, have you?
I have played the game. I did not finish it. Long story-based games are not really my forte. But I am excited to watch it. I'm waiting. I want to binge it because it's so good.
Are you one of those who waits for it to be over and then binge it all at once?
When it's that good, yes.
It's that. Let me tell you,
I don't want to wait.
Good. I can't even wait to do what you're doing. You have a lot of discipline.
I will I'll probably go ahead and start watching it right before the season finale, so that way I can catch up and enjoy the season finale right when.
Because what I hate, David, is seeing it in captions and everything all over YouTube and all over the internet.
Yeah.
Like in the news, like everything, you'll see like the caption and it'll tell you something you do not want to see. Mm-hmm. It may not even tell you exactly. It may tell you indirectly, but you kind of know. And you're just like, why did I even see? No. So I'm always worried about that. So I have to see it before I go. It's same with wrestling. I have to go in there and look. Like I have to watch all that stuff. Even if it's 3 a.m, I have to watch it. But this is the longest I've gone without seeing it because I'm doing my best not to go through the internet, like surf the internet.
Gotcha.
And get it in my YouTube algorithms. That's the worst mistake you can do. Adrian, wow, that's awesome. Like a postcard, right? Oh, the postcard of Jesse Owens. It's a card of some sort. The back is in German, but the stock is real thin, about the size of 54 Bowman.
Ooh.
Aaron, that Pachango show is on the 14th to 15th. Plan on going on the 14th. So that's about a week or two before the National. Okay. Jay, what's up, Merlin? David, hope you enjoyed Burbank. Jay, of course we did, brother. And I was even telling him how good your premiere shows were during before Christmas. So let us know when the next one is. I'd like to sell some product hopefully this time around because I've got cases. Oh, David, I got so much cases of graded guard, and I was even selling those well because men who owns graded guard, he was only about 4 booths over from me, but he ran out of stock even online of some of the colors. So he was one of my boss for graded guard. The owner was one of my biggest customers for graded guards because he needed him because he ran out of colors. That's how great the show was. Adrian, Stargate S1, second best sci-fi show behind Galactica. I even said that. Galactica remake. I loved. Did you watch Galactica back in the 2000s? Oh, what? Maybe you should binge that, dude. It was amazing.
I'll have to check that out.
One of my favorites, man. Surprised
you
what
I really liked?
What's that?
They only did one season.
What?
Firefly.
Oh, you're one of those. What's the actor's name?
Oh, God.
He had such a following. He has such a cult following. He's on The Rookie now, right?
Yeah, he's on The Rookie.
Yeah.
But, that's
what
very
his name is.
sci-fi Western. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I watched that too. That was really good. Vintage Lord Canada. I've got a great curator auto. What should I mark it as? 250? No, it's in my clearance bin, folks.
Yeah.
After I've had all these great, amazing celebrity guest co-host, the great curator right up here on the top right corner, I put those in my clearance bin. I don't know if he's even coming back. I'm just kidding, everybody. Dan won't like that. Dan doesn't like take jokes like that seriously. He's too serious about it. Carlos, another great show. Thank you all. Have a good night. Thank you all.
Have a good night.
Great
Carlos.
content. Ed, great show, fellas. Thank you all. And we'll end it there. David, any last minute shout outs, please tell us. Anybody else you want to shout out with, please tell us right now. And anything else you want to announce before we head out?
I'll give a shout out to my partner from the Burbank Card Show, Twin Sons Raul. Give him a follow. He does custom display cases and card display pieces as well. great guy to follow, loves baseball. He was my partner in crime through the whole Burbank Card Show. Couldn't have done it without him. So big shout out to him. And thankful for everyone who is following, listening, tuning in, and all that stuff. It's great to be a part of this hobby. Great to go ahead and just connect with everyone. So thank you.
And we
all.
can see you. You're what on social media on Instagram at
Yeah.
La.Cardguy, correct?
Correct. You can find me on Instagram at La.Cardguy. Hoping to do some more content stuff over the, as time progresses and stuff like that. I love sharing Star Wars with people, so hopefully I get to do that more.
We'll have you definitely on the near future as well, and I definitely will too on my channel. And can we check anything out? Also, can you want to shout out your eBay or not?
You can find my eBay. It's la.cardshop, and trying to build that right now as well. I sold a lot of those cards this weekend, so I'm going to be working.
So are you on your iPhone, like ending the listings? Me
yeah,
too.
Literally. I was like, oh, this sold. Oh, this sold. Oh, so, and then at the end of the show, I was like going through it. I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot this one sold as well. So,
I hate that. The worst is when I forget to take a picture or anything, and I totally forget. I mean, it's like I got carried away or lost myself in thought, and I've got, oh my god, so I have to go through my inventory on eBay and look and see what if I can remember. And there's a couple times when I didn't, and I made a sale, and I'm like, oh my god, I can't find the card. I must have sold it.
I've done that
like
a couple
months later.
times. Yeah, we're like, you finish a show on a weekend, and then that Monday a card sells, and you're like, oh I'm god, sorry, I sold it this past weekend. Apologies, And
then finally, Adrian. Happy Valentine's, Adrian. Merlin, keep this interview show going. It's your calling. Thank you. It's what everybody's been telling me. I've been having great feedback. So once Dan gets back, I'll probably have a separate Between Two Slabs Merlin interview show but it also takes a great guest. So David, thank you for being a great guest, great co-host. You were great. If something ever happens to Curator, I'll be hitting you up. Okay.
Oh no!
But we'll definitely have you on future Merle World shows because we'll be talking Star Wars. Maybe we'll rip some stuff. Mamba Breaks. What's Steve's name? Vintage Sports. Eric.
Vintage
maybe we'll have a bunch on here together and just opening up boxes and talking Star Wars one day. Okay.
Oh, that's the dream right there.
So David and all your viewers, thanks for coming. Thanks for viewing, and we'll see y'all next Tuesday. We'll have the Curator back, hopefully in one piece. So bye-bye, everyone. See y'all next week.
Good night, everyone. Peace.